And welcome, everybody, to the special Tuesday edition of the podcast. I am your co-host, Steve, and always joined by
Charles, sir.
And Bill has a little technical difficulties, but he is here with us.
If we drop him at any point, we'll know why.
How's it going? Yeah.
BV disappears.
As long as I can, but it could drop at any moment.
He's got computer gremlins right now. Do we want to turn that off?
Oh, well, I'll get the fan. Go for it.
Okay. So, like we said, Sunday, Charles's work schedule got messed up, so we're here on a Tuesday, prime time, 7 o'clock. We may have to switch permanently some of our podcast days, maybe go for a Saturday. If that's so, maybe you'll get Heather next week. I will be out of town in Kentucky.
Listen to this guy with all the things, all the coals and the fire Steve's got.
Yeah,
World traveler.
And your niece is headed to Cedar Point Sunday. So
wait, is she driving?
No, she's riding with a friend and her parents. I'm not letting her drive to Cedar Point on her own. She's dying to do it, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, she just had a light on. Speaking of which, a little sidetrack, but drove around for half a week with a low pressure tire get light on all week. Does not tell me.
It's the squishy little thing.
Yeah, I'm like, you think you're going to tell me about this light? Oh yeah, I don't know what that. Go put air in your tires.
Yeah, that's all you
got
to do.
Okay. So I had to show her how to check oil. So we did a whole dad-daughter.
That's good.
This is how you check oil. This is how you put windshield washer fluid in. And this, she knew the tire thing. She was just being lazy, I think. But there it is. So the little fatherly moments there. So this week, let's all get excited, right? Sports is back, right?
Yeah.
Everyone excited
for now.
It's back for about 10 minutes.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, NFL, football, and college is a whole other thing. But right now, baseball was the first one back, right? Now, we were supposed to talk about this Sunday, so we're a little behind. And, of course, as just like on schedule, one team shows up with 17 positive
17,
COVID.
and that's Jeterverse down in the Marlins. So. But what they didn't realize is, like, it ended up being, like, so I put on here the MLB's got to postpone 21 games because of all the infections. It hit the Cardinals, it hit the Phillies, it hit the Marlins.
Yeah, the Tigers are actually supposed to play the Cardinals today, actually.
Oh, is that what it is?
So they're not playing again until Friday when they play the Pirates because they got nobody to play.
What do they do, man? I don't know.
Yeah, so baseball's struggling a little bit.
A little bit. Also 21 games. Just a touch of an issue.
Just a touch. Now, either one of you watched a baseball game since it's been back?
I have not. BV, have you checked it out at all?
Okay.
I tried. It's
technical difficulty.
And so I've got through about maybe, I don't know, an inning and a half is about as far as I've gotten. About 10 minutes.
Are they they're doing cardboard audience? Because the NBA has the weird digital audience. How do you get on the digital audience? Does anyone know how you get?
I'm gonna imagine that's all you got to pay.
Is that you think it is?
Well, I know the baseball one you have to pay.
For the cardboard cutout.
Yeah, you have to pay. Like certain teams charge $50, other teams charge $150. Wow. And some of them change the price depending on where your cardboard
anything you can monetize.
Like, I got $10 one in the upper deck, just one random cardboard cutout.
The cheap seat cardboard cutout.
I am gonna get a kick out of the cardboard cutouts though. For some reason,
are they funny and stuff?
I see the highlights. They all have like a white outline going around them where they got cut out, so it's so weird. And they don't even cut it like to the player or to the guy watching. But
at least they're kind of embracing it and having a little fun with it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, well, fun or just trying to make a little more scratch.
Also, monetizing.
Yeah, you think
let me not be too nice.
You think it would just be free? You can sign up and download your picture. They'll have just tons of pictures of people. Now, some of the baseball has piped in some fake noise. Some of
the NBA had a fake noise thing when I was watching it. There was like a weird crowd thing. Somehow it links with the NBA app. I don't know how it does that, but I don't know because it says click cheer on the. I got to download it one time when I'm watching a game just to check it out.
It works good on the radio because when they play baseball highlights on the radio, they incorporate the crowd noise. It sounds like a real game on the radio.
You turned the radio on?
No, 97.1 will show a highlight,
okay.
And they'll get a hit, and all of a sudden the crowd goes. I'm like, wait a minute, how that happen?
I'm like,
no,
dude,
sports talk will
you
show
old school. Like,
all my baseball is through highlights. I don't actually watch baseball, even pre-COVID. I'm not watching baseball, so there you go. So that's a little look at the baseball that's back and may not be back long. So anyone out there that's a baseball fan, watch it now before they're all suspended or gone.
What are the odds that they make it to some kind of series at the end of the year? What is your percentage at this point?
I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. So I'm gonna 80%.
Dude, you're crazy. I'm like legit style single digits, like 5-10% at most. There's no way this dumpster fire's making it to the end of the year.
You don't think so?
No, and these players were already pissed about the conditions they were coming back in. There's no way this is working.
Bill, what's
No
your
way.
percent on that?
I think it's about 50-50 at best.
Dude,
Probably more like 30 against.
Yeah, dude. 30.
34, 70 against.
Oh, maybe
There's
I need to
no
change it.
way. You're 80%.
How are they going to make up all these games that they've had to postpone for starters? And that's assuming they get control of COVID, which they probably won't.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire. There's no way. I respect your optimism, but hell no.
So then we go over to the NFL, who hasn't started yet. And this was, now mind you, the podcast was for Sunday. A lot of people have backed out of the season already.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
For some
And
reason,
to your point, I saw it in the notes. A lot of Patriots.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
The Bishop, we ain't got Brady. Why am I playing?
That was weird. I was like, okay.
8 of them.
Yeah, 8 Patriots, Hightower being one of the better ones.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
So, and then now recently here locally, Matt Stafford tested positive,
oh, he's got the COVIDs.
but now listen to this
His
one.
wife just had all that recovery
I
shit.
know
They
it.
got young kids.
And then they reported it, and come to find out it was a false positive, so he doesn't have it.
Oh.
And his wife was pissed because they, you know, she has all that medical stuff.
That's what I'm saying, like all the brain
Yeah.
stuff and everything.
If there's one guy on the Lions that probably should sit out the season, it might be him. 'Cause he's got 2 new twins. His wife has cancer.
No one, I don't think, well, then again, we live in, these are football fans. They're going to give him shit.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, dude,
Whatever.
Matt Padford sitting on the sideline.
Tell your wife to wear one of those blow up helmets.
Yeah.
She'll be fine.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah. So NFL, who knows? And of course, we'll talk about college here in a second. So now, also came out this week. NBA was back. NHL was back.
Yeah.
Charles, you've seen the basketball. What do you think?
Yeah, I talked to you a little bit pre-show, but I thought it was pretty good. So the thing that I enjoyed, and it's just like the UFC stuff, you're getting a lot more audio than I think you ever did in an NBA game. I think that the crowd noise drawing. I'm kind of entertained by the audio. Like, you can hear some serious trash talking and shit. I kind of dug it. I'll be honest with you. It's not the best. It's a weird, like, penalty box in the center that they're kind of all, like, the press stuff and all the officiating.
It feels
shit.
like a weird overseas game. to
It's
me.
a
I don't
very
know why.
big court, too. The court's like paint. It's weird.
And it's
I'm not
kind of lit weird, too.
yeah, it's not ideal, but I do like. I didn't realize, like, I dig the lack of crowd. I really do.
But did you happen to catch when they come back from commercial, the 3 announcers?
No.
They got plexiglass little boxes for each one,
so
side by
doing that.
side.
See, and here's the thing, and again, like, going around, I don't understand. If you've all tested negative for COVID, why are we forcing these people?
It's all about the imagery at this point, right?
Yeah, right? Because, like, the UFC tests the crap out of their people, yet they won't let them interview in the ring now. Like,
Yeah, if they're all negative.
what
difference
is
does
it?
make?
Well, there's nothing in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, one of the NBA players.
What did
got-
you think about the? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But did you see the bench where they separate the players on the bench and then they have assigned seats on the bench so that you don't
didn't
share
look that
my
deep into
water
it.
bottle and all that kind of stuff too.
Jeez.
It's interesting. I do think it's kind of cool.
So they'll probably make it. What do you think? You
I think they
make it?
will. I do. I think that, so. If I'm giving 5-10% for baseball, because I think it's a complete cluster, I'm like 90-95 for basketball.
Bill, your percentage on NBA finishing the season?
I think 100% because they're actually doing it right. The bubble was a very good idea. Without other sports should take something from that because this travel in and of itself is going to undermine avoiding COVID for other sports.
And I get what BV's saying, but I know firsthand from working in the hospitality industry, there's an insane amount of people that are required for most other sports. So I get that in an ideal world, you could put these people in a bubble and all this kind of stuff. From the National Football League, I know first there's like 100+ people that travel with this team. Like, I don't know how you pare that down. There's literally like 10 to 15 video guys. There's 10 to 15 medical staff that travel and all. I don't know how you do it. I agree with BV. I think the NBA is doing it correctly. I think the UFC is doing it correctly. But you probably also have touched on the 2 smallest sports that you could possibly do. You know, I don't know how you do it.
I did
How
watch.
large are the rosters in the NHL because they're doing something similar as well?
I don't know much about NHL travel.
Well,
I
three
really don't.
lines usually, right? So 3 lines.
I mean,
times
this is a
5.
heftier number. It's
A
got to be
backup
bigger
goalie,
than. It's
yeah.
got to be bigger than
It's got
basketball.
to be at least 22 players.
And are they bubbling? Is that what they're
Yeah,
doing?
Edmonton, 2 Canadian cities. I don't remember. I know one's Edmonton. I don't know the other one.
Yeah, I think BV's correct. I think you have to. That's why there's just no way that the NFL's going to make it. There's no way.
Well, we'll see how money talks. I have watched some of the NHL games. The only thing that bugs me, I wanted them to go straight into the playoffs. They're doing this weird round robin thing before the playoffs. It's kind of like what basketball is
Are they
doing.
giving it seeding? Is that what they're trying to work out?
I'm not sure. So I was like, round robin. I was hoping to see some playoffs, but I think it holds up pretty good. I liked it better than the basketball as far as no crowds. They do the light when like someone scores. They do the sounds and the lights
So
and
they
all
still
that
have the
stuff.
pageantry of it.
Yeah, they have a little more pageantry than basketball has. But you don't get the idiots beating on the glass or anything. So.
a digital beating on the glass.
But then again, it's still hockey. One game I watched was 2-1. It's like, so, I mean, if you're a diehard hockey fan.
That's gotta. Are they piping in noise for that too?
I didn't notice any. I didn't notice any crowd noise.
Because that's got you probably hear some serious shit talking in that one.
I've
too.
been watching on NBC Sports at 1640 on my cable. I don't know.
You know that real high end sports.
Yeah, I was
channel.
like trying to find it. I was like,
16,
where? I
you
know
had to go
hockey's
out
on
of your
somewhere.
way, you know?
Yeah, I guess I could try Channel 9. I didn't
1640.
think about that.
Yeah,
but-
on what Saturdays or whatever,
Yeah,
Wilson Hockey
so-
Night.
Now, what did Mark Cuban say? I didn't
Yeah,
miss
so
this.
I thought this was cool. So everyone's up in arms about the national anthem and like all this kind of stuff. You've just discussed a member of our friends who already are mad about the kneeling.
Yeah.
BV's talked about how members of his family have had umbrage about it and all this kind of stuff. And Mark Cuban's like, I'm so sick of the national anthem police, is what he said. He goes, well, then why doesn't your boss play the national anthem before you start your shift every day? If you're so caught up in, like, respecting the nation, why don't they do it in everyone's job? So, like, imagine, like, an office building, they pipe the national anthem in, and you, like, stand up.
That would be kinda
I think it's a
funny.
really valid point. Like, I get, like, that, the public comes to see it, but, like, at some point, like...
Or we just do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning.
Yeah, like I thought it
I'm
was
gonna
a
do
really-
that next day. I'm gonna bring a flag. I'm gonna steal the guy's flag off the front of your house.
Exactly. No, don't do that, America, son.
I'm gonna do it the America truck. Let's give me a flag.
But it's just a really valid point. I'm like, because like in China and stuff, they have like morning stretches and stuff. Like, when are we gonna start that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
calisthenics. Well, I could use them.
yeah.
A lot of us could use them. What?
So let's take that a step further. Not just are they piping in the national anthem before you start your shift every day. How many people sitting at home watching a game are getting up off their couch,
Yeah, and
taking their hat
recognizing
off,
it. Yeah.
putting their hands around, stopping everything they're doing, so
Hey, shut up! The anthem's
they
on.
can respect the nation while they
Yeah.
play the national
They're too
anthem.
busy grabbing wings. They
Yeah.
got time for that.
Yeah, they're grabbing food, they're grabbing a beer, they're going.
And
to
then
the
they're going,
bathroom,
"Who's
they're flipping
singing it this
channels.
year?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, it's a
Jennifer
really
Hudson.
fun-
Jennifer Hudson
yeah,
singing
oh
it?
man, she that's pretty good, man. That chick's got pipes. So that's what you talk about. It's such a valid point.
Yeah.
I can't say enough. Every once in a while, like I've become a really big fan of Mark Cuban. I like that dude a lot. Like the more and more, because again, I went down that whole Shark Tank rabbit hole. But like, he's got a sound way of looking at a lot of stuff that I think is pretty good stuff.
Yeah, the people want him to run for president.
I think I might vote for Mark Cuban if he
Yeah.
ran.
Now there is some other sporting news we didn't get a chance to put on here. The Rock bought the XFL.
I put that on the notes. Yeah.
Oh, you
or in
did?
the
Okay, I
news.
didn't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that
For
part.
$15
Gotta
million.
blow the news, Steve. Good job.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
sorry,
let's
I
blow it
didn't
up
see
a little
that
bit.
part.
So yeah, so him
I thought
and,
if it's sports, it kind of fit.
in an ownership group, him and a couple other people bought it for $15 million. Seemed a little pricey to me. If I'm honest.
Well, I mean, McMahon probably soaked in hundreds of millions.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. So they're saying that he can't do much with it right now in the middle of COVID and stuff. It's a little too soon for him to do anything. So you won't see anything from the product for a little bit of time.
Well, it
But
wouldn't be till spring anyway, so maybe something will
They're
clear
saying
up by
that
then.
it'll be a tough go to get it going by that. At least ESPN
2022
talked
you're
about
thinking
it,
about it? Yeah. So now, of course, with the football.
Well, hold on. But what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing?
I think
What
the
is-
XFL had something going for it until COVID killed it.
Do you think COVID killed it, or was it like?
It wasn't going to be an NFL competitor or anything, but I thought it had a little niche and it was entertaining to watch. I thought it wasn't super bad offense like
It wasn't
was
like
in
the first
past.
iteration of
Yeah,
the
the first one was a
XFL.
gimmick and bad offense and stuff. So this had a little bit of offense. It had a couple star players, a couple.
It was a
quarterbacks.
decent product.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
So
mind
if
it
you
at
get The Rock behind it, marketing it, even though The Rock does do that terrible reality show. Whatever
The
that
Titan
was.
Games.
Oh my God, is that bad? He's got his tequila money. He can go in there and sell tequila at the stadium. So I don't know.
You're positive on it? You're like,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm positive
could work.
on it.
What do you think, BV? What is BV's take on it?
I think it could work. I think that The Rock will probably be more smart about it than Vince McMahon was.
A little less
They
pig-headed, I would argue, too.
They should take baby steps as far as trying to grow it. I think he'd be better served on a less expensive, instead of trying to go for major networks, start on cable television.
Be on the Paramount Network initially, is what BV's saying?
Take kind of like the arena football model and build it slowly. I mean, $15 million for a sports league. I mean, assuming the bankruptcy court approves it, which I can't imagine they wouldn't. I don't think people are lining up to buy this or anything. So, getting it cheap enough, if they're smart about how they invest it and how they grow it, I think it has a chance to be really good because the product wasn't bad.
Yeah. That was the biggest surprise to me, is the offense wasn't total bullshit like it was before.
Yeah.
And that was the problem with the other league. Their offenses were...
You talking about the AAF?
Yeah, that was just like, oh, jeez. Yeah. And the Seattle team had a built-in...
I enjoyed the Seattle team. Yeah,
people love that Seattle team. I don't know.
What do you guys... No, we didn't talk about that. They got an NHL team, the Kraken.
I love the name of that. The logo, I'm lukewarm on. It's just an S with like eyes and a mouth. But you imagine they scored and they go, release the Kraken or something. That's pretty sweet. I'll be honest.
He's like, I'm down with that.
I'm kind of into that. I like that. I like the Kraken, even though it's still hockey, and I don't know how much I'd actually watch.
So, how many teams that give hockey at this point? Do either of you guys know? BV, you have any clue? Google will tell me.
Yeah, 32.
I'm curious if it's 30. If they got to 32, or they already had 30.
I think
31.
Oh, 31.
Oh, they're only going to have 31. So they got one more to go, I would argue.
Yeah, so that's not bad. Yeah, the Kraken. So now we're going to go over to college football, right? So we're talking about the sports. Mm-hmm. Now, again, today on the news, before we came here, is Rutgers University. They all busted out with some COVID today.
Oh, they got blasted.
Oh, yeah. They allegedly, a bunch of the football players.
What do you got? Like, did they give you a number or anything like that?
7 or 8 of them came down with it. A bunch of the players went to some party. And they all got busted with it. So they had to close the school down.
Well, so our school that you're going to talk about here, the school that we support, has posted multiple times. They've been negative, complete negative, complete negative. I don't know if that's BS. I mean, me and you were like,
I think it's BS. We know a couple friends that are not college, but high school football coaches, and we already know some of that shit. So, anyways. Notre Dame wants to play with the ACC.
Well, it's not want. It's guaranteed. So they are playing with the ACC. This is going in. So they're going to not only play an ACC schedule, which they already were in a weird hybrid way, as me and you know as fans and all that kind of stuff. They went from 5 games, I think they played ACC-wise, all the way up to 10. And then the big thing is this year they're eligible to play for the ACC Championship, which would just be weird if it's Clemson, Notre Dame in the ACC Championship.
So they're going to finish second.
I mean, if you're being honest, if you're going to be honest.
And Clemson already all had the COVID, so they're good to go for the season.
They all sat around coughing on each other.
So the last game of the season,
they did like a chicken pox party.
Did they release a schedule?
There's a schedule available.
When do they play Clemson? Is it late in the season?
It's early. Yeah.
Oh, early. Yeah. They want to get that. See now
lose early is better in college. Yeah.
Well, no. All the schools are trying to get their big games in the beginning of the season in case it gets canceled.
Oh, you're saying just timing-wise.
Yeah, the Big Ten's looking to put Michigan, Ohio State in the first couple weeks of the season.
As opposed to the end, because they don't know if they're going to see it.
Yeah. So a lot
That's
of
pretty smart. I got to admit, that's pretty smart.
The Big Ten hasn't released their schedule yet because of the Rutgers thing that just happened.
Okay.
Because if you remember, Rutgers, for some reason, is still part of the Big Ten. Yeah. So they got to rework everything, and they said they're going to put a committee of college players together. A bunch of bullshit, whatever. They're waiting to see what happens. But I'd be surprised Notre Dame and Clemson probably are going to be early. You're going to see Alabama, Auburn early. You're going to see the big games probably early.
It's a valid point.
Let's get these in before season's canceled.
BB, you got any thoughts about the college year coming up?
Well, yeah, I think, first off, it's kind of funny you're talking about Rutgers because I heard this morning on local news here. So Northwestern gets one player with COVID. They shut down their whole workout program.
Oh, yeah,
but
Northwestern was the other group,
Meanwhile, the Illini, University of Illinois, they've had 23 student athletes, 18 of them football players that have had COVID, and they are still running their workout program.
Just difference in the same thing, man. It's crazy.
I think ultimately this season doesn't happen.
Oh, okay. BV's negative on the season. I'm definitely more with BV. I'm not going to give it as low chances as the baseball one. I'm probably at 25% that they get a decent
I think they
thing
get
in
a
there.
partial season in. We get a couple big games early.
They're going to
and then
squander. Yeah,
and
to
then
the
it's
point.
over.
Yeah, the universities are thinking ahead because about month one, they're like, dude, we're dropping like flies.
Yeah, with the big games now.
yeah.
I agree with you guys because right now it's just a train wreck, and it's so hard to police young college players. And this next note, I probably should have put down the news, but I thought it was interesting. They're saying on the news, I think it was MSN, international flights may not recover to 2024. They're saying you won't be able to take a trip to Italy or Japan until probably another 4 years from now. This is when they say it'll fully start recovering.
It sucks for me because the big plan in our household, we were going to Paris next year, but apparently we ain't going to Gay Paris. We're going to be walking there.
Our next big trip, we were supposed to go to New York with Holly on her graduation. She wanted to go there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't even know. It's New York.
Who
Even
knows?
if
You might have to drive.
That's 2 years
you
away,
could
though.
drive. You know,
Yeah, that's
in New
true.
York, you could drive.
And it's still 2 years away, so we got some time still. But yeah, and then of course I wanted maybe a cruise with BV and Abby, but that ain't happening.
Cruise?
I'm not sitting on a petri
You're all
dish
insane,
cruise.
especially BV.
That's
BV's
not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening.
BV's been
That
taking
was
this shit
in-
pretty serious. He ain't taking that shit at all.
That was in the cards a couple years ago, or for the last couple years we've been working on it. And
Yeah.
I don't see that happening now, so forget that one.
What do you think, BV? You going on a cruise?
No, that's not going to happen.
You
But
get tickets.
I was also about to or considering finally, breaking down and getting a passport since I've never traveled abroad other than the Canada that we grew up 20 minutes away from. So and I can't even do that anymore with what I have. So but at this point, we were talking about maybe doing Iceland in the next year or two.
Geez,
But
Reykjavik.
obviously not going to happen now. So
Gabe did that trip.
Yeah, it seems to be it's definitely one of the most up and coming tourist places.
Yeah, and a lot of
people-
locals are pissed about it because it's ruining the national
Yeah, I'm
habitat
sure.
stuff.
Yeah. Because they were able to squash COVID because once they closed their borders, there's 10 people that live
Yeah, I
there.
was gonna say, yeah, Hans and Franz, the only two people that live there.
yeah, and the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to bring him up later because I need Steve to explain to me some things.
All right. All right, so that's a look at the COVID and sports, and we have sports back. Now here in
For
Michigan,
now. For now.
15% of the casinos are going to open up here.
Well, they're allowed to occupy for 15%? Is that
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
rule is? When does that take place? Curious.
It should be now.
Oh, they're already open.
Because the
at this
announcement, now this is, okay, we're going to the next segment, Steve's Northern Adventure. And
Oh,
Steve
okay.
was headed to a wedding of Stephanie and Tom, Stephanie Johnson and Tom Kopiak, I think his name is.
point. Steve
Tre-
paid serious attention at that wedding. Steve was like, whatever that dude. I don't know. That
Yeah,
dude.
he never talked to me. But 2 days before the wedding, which was a Thursday, our governor came on at late at night, like 5, 6 o'clock at night. Which
You're really weird sometimes with the way she kind of
yeah,
does
usually
that
she's
stuff.
around 11:30, 1 o'clock. And she announced, even in northern Michigan,
Bars, right?
yeah, and no bigger than 10 people inside or 100 people inside a
Steve was
castle.
like, wait, what?
And I was headed to a wedding in a castle with over 100 people. I'm like, how's that going to work? So I immediately text Randy, and they were in a panic. And so what happened was the castle that the girl's getting married in.
Because that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, well, instead of being indoors, they moved it all outside into like,
So the
a
rules
big
didn't
courtyard.
apply if you were outside.
If you were outside,
I
you were
knew that,
fine.
Yeah, and the
So-
same thing goes for all the bars. stuff
And
like
at the same time, they also opened the casinos in Detroit 15%. I don't know if that includes the sports book, so
We still got to make a trip down
I
there.
want to bet on it.
It's
But I
supposed
just,
to be awesome. Dude. We got to go down and take a hundo
but
apiece.
with the casino only open 15%, there's got to be like a line to get in there, and all those diehard gamblers. down
You
there
probably got to
waiting.
give it a cooling off period of a month or two.
Yeah.
But
But
once
wait
BV
until they
is-
open up to 50% or
When
something like
BV
that.
comes into town, we'll all have to roll down there for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
What are you gonna say, Bill?
Real quick with the sportsbook thing. So I randomly got an email last week saying that I had just randomly like $10 or something put into my FanDuel account, which I haven't used in at least 2 or 3 years. So I go to check it. They've got a full blown sportsbook on FanDuel now too.
Oh man,
Is that legal in Michigan?
I don't know.
I think if it's
The
legal,
rules have been loosening more and more
that's what I'm
each
trying
year.
to figure out.
We'll have to get Bert on. He can explain all of He loves
Yeah,
FanDuel. He
yeah,
lives on
okay.
FanDuel. He's betting on virtual sports. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so now the Steve's Northern event. I went to 3 cities up north: Boyne Mountain. Oh, actually, I think it's just Boyne, but it's Boyne Falls, Boyne Mountain, Boyne City, whatever. Charlevoix and Traverse City. Now, our whole life we always heard how you gotta go up these places. They're beautiful. Blah blah blah.
I've never been to any of that.
Yeah,
so
me either. So that's why I
Have you
kind
been
of
to Mackinac?
yes.
I've never
I went
been to
when we went to
Mackinac.
Oscoda. Remember, I went up there. I went up to
Oh,
the
yeah,
island.
yeah, okay.
And I was like, it smelled like horse crap, and it was all overpriced. Well, nothing smelled like horse crap here, so I'll tell you that
okay.
much. So I stayed in the Boyne Mountain Resort, and it's a nice resort. It's a ski lodge type deal, and it's all wood based. Very wood. I told Charles before the podcast, it looks like Cracker Barrel made a ski lodge. Is what it kind of reminds me of. But it's nice. It's got an arcade.
How big is it? How?
It's huge. It's
Yeah, I
huge.
was gonna say, the whole
it's a
resort
lot of stuff,
compound
yeah.
kind of thing.
Because like you walk behind the where the hotel is, they've got shops, they've got an arcade, they've got paintball. You could do paintball
that'd be
there.
fun.
They got
You and
like,
Michelle didn't do that?
no, we didn't do that. And then you could do the mountain. You know, it's got the mountain with the ski lift. And there's tons of stuff there, and if you're an outdoorsy type, you'll never be bored at Boyne Mountain. I'll tell you that much. And it was nice, but it was $260 a night. This wasn't
Ooh,
cheap.
mama.
And
How nice was the room for $260?
it was okay. It had one queen size bed, a hide bed. It had a balcony, and it had a fridge and a microwave, which I always like. So that way I can go get me some breakfast and not have to pay for breakfast. That's what we did. I got some frozen breakfast sandwiches. Because, eating breakfast every morning gets expensive,
All too well.
So the first night, Thursday, we went down to Boyne Mountain. We checked it out. And I was telling Charles again before the podcast starts, every northern city seems to be cut out of the same cloth. You got one little main street area, which a bunch of tchotchke / souvenir shops, with some ice cream shops and a couple restaurants, and then that's pretty much
even
it.
to a point have the same tchotchkes, like the same
Yeah.
tchotchkes with a different
Yeah.
city name on it.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
exactly it. It's the same coffee mug.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what Boyne was. Okay, but we did eat at a really nice Mexican restaurant called the Red Mesa Grill, and I think it's a franchise up there because there's one in Traverse City too. It's pretty good. I ordered some. So, like Charles, when I go on vacation, I like to eat unique stuff.
Yeah,
a Peruvian
randomness.
armadillo egg is what I
Oh
ate.
Jesus, what is that?
It's not an egg.
It's just what they call something.
Yeah. So it was only $3. They had we were there at happy hour. It's like 2 giant hush puppies. Inside them is like this Mexican chicken with potatoes, and then they
all right
put
to
sour cream on top of it, and they got that little green salsa.
That Verde, get that Verde, son.
It was pretty good. Not gonna lie. I was like, I'm all about this.
Yeah.
Michelle got a beef and cheese burrito, and it was one of those like Chipotle,
Boomba,
and then they
yeah.
melted the cheese on top of it.
Yeah,
So that was
sounds
good.
straight.
And I went with something new. I got a chicken and churro poblano. It's a giant pepper.
Churro's sweet, right?
Not churro, chorizo.
Oh,
sorry.
chorizo. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait a second. You
yeah,
got some
no.
sweet and some
So-
chicken?
But it's a pepper that's like this big, and they pack it with cheese, chicken, and chorizo. And that was good. So I highly recommend if you get a chance to go to.
Mexican stuffed peppers are delicious. Like chili,
Yeah.
they relleno peppers. And they,
Yeah,
that's good.
it had some black beans with it and some rice.
Nice.
So big thumbs up to Red Mesa Grill.
Yeah, that's the highlight of
That
the
was the
trip.
highlight of Boyne Mountain, really. So then the next day we ended up going to Traverse City, and we stopped at the Turtle Creek Casino. Now, I don't know if you've been in a casino since COVID has broke out.
I haven't, no.
It is a bummer you got to wear a mask the whole time. That's a little annoying.
Okay.
Like, again, you get used to it. Ain't that big a deal.
It doesn't bother me that much.
But the great thing, it's like your own personal casino. There's nobody in that place.
How do they in these casinos, can you guys go, well, how are they limited? Are they shutting machines down?
Yeah, so we were there at 11 a.m. on a Friday.
Okay.
A
very big gambler time is 11 a.m.
Yeah, I
on
know.
a Friday.
So there's really nobody in this
Yeah.
place. So you walk in, and they have a temperature thing that looks like an iPad on a wall, and you got to stand in a certain area and put your face on it, and it takes your temperature.
Whoa.
So and mine was 97.5. So I was like, all right, I'm good
It's
to
a
go.
good radio station.
Yeah, Michelle was 97.2,
Yeah.
so we were good to go. And but you got to wear your mask, and they'll get on you. Like Michelle wears this bigger mask for some reason. Her face is tiny, and so her mask always slips down.
Oh,
like
she's the
this.
nose exposed person.
She got yelled at again. She always get yelled at.
Put your nose
I go, why don't you just
away.
get a smaller mask that fits? Well, part of it too is you wear glasses with it over your nose, your glasses fog up.
I've learned a trick with that. I wear the
the trick?
surgical mask, and I really tailor it so they got that wire that's in it. I'll take that wire and kind of really give me a good seal so that any kind of dish, like as I exhale, it kind of kicks out the sides.
Oh, instead of the top.
Yeah, and that fixes my glasses.
Well, she's just using cloth ones that some lady made. So maybe
no,
she should.
I'm using the surgical ones because I got news. I can't get. I've tried multiple times to get a fun mask. I can't. My fat melon will not fit a fun mask.
I know,
dude. I just want a fun mask. I can't get shit.
Yeah.
BB, what mask are you wearing?
I actually ordered some masks from DXL.
You had to get
And
the
so-
fat guy mask.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, they fully fit fine. They've got the adjustable
Like the ear
earpiece
straps
thing,
and stuff?
kinda, so I can adjust it as needed,
How
and they work
lo-
great. They're a little warm because it's a thicker cloth, but
What is that damage for a DXL face mask?
I want to say it was $6.99
Oh, that's
for
better
three.
than I thought it was gonna. That's way better than I thought it was gonna be. I was gonna be like $20.
Yeah, so did I.
Wow. Anyway, so to your point, you got it at
Yeah.
a casino.
So a casino, I mean, it was nice. So what they do with the slot machines only have one chair, blank
That's
space.
what I was thinking.
another
Yeah,
chair.
they're kinda
but they don't
spaced.
turn the slots off, so you can still play two slot machines right next to each other.
Oh.
But there's no chair, so no one's going to sit next
So
to you.
instead of shutting the machine down,
They leave it on.
Oh.
Because, there's still, because there were still some old guys over there playing 2-3 machines at a time. So they don't do that, but they remove a lot of the chairs. And the tables weren't open at the time, so when I was there. But the digital roulette was open, and they took every other chair away.
I was gonna say,
so-
just limiting this.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all they do. And then there's hand sanitizer everywhere. And they yell at you if your mask slips down.
Like
No.
security comes up to you and yells.
Yeah,
Is that what
well,
happened with Shell?
Yeah. Some lady working there walked up and was like, "You gotta pull your mask up." She's like, "Oh, all right." Didn't win anything. We both lost our asses. But it was fun, But it's a tiny casino. I mean, the Detroit casinos look huge compared to
Yeah,
it. But
sometimes those Indian casinos get really small.
yeah, but it was
Gave
fun.
you something to do.
Yeah, it was. So then we headed over to Traverse City, and this is where Traverse City is like a little bit. It's a lot like Holland. Holland has that main street with all the shops. Same thing, except the shops here are based on cherries. That's it. Of course, ice cream shops.
They lean hard into that whole, Traverse City cherry thing.
Yeah. Milk and Honey is the big ice cream shop there. They do have that big state theater that they're known to have film festivals at. That's right there on that strip. But of course, with COVID, it's not open, so there's no film festivals. And then we ended up at the place called the Cherry Republic, and that's where we bought I bought the liqueur, and then we bought a salsa made from cherries. And it's as disgusting as you think.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't sound very.
But
nice.
you know who liked it? My wife, because it's sweet.
Oh,
it's like, who wants a sweet salsa? It's
Yeah,
gross.
gross.
So, and then we got some cherry candies for Holly, which was like $5. And then, but they had a cherry pie sitting there. I was like, well, I'm in Traverse City. I got to get a Traverse City cherry. You want $17 for that cherry pie? I was like, never mind. That cherry pie staying here.
Yeah, $17.
Yeah. So everything was like, so it was all cherry based, but just ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah, you're paying a douche tax.
Yes. Now, the one thing we screwed up on is Chuck, the guy from Hair Mechanics, told me Slabtown Burgers is a good place. When you look on the map, it's just right down the street. Well, I didn't realize. So I was like,
That scale meant 4 miles. Yeah.
we walked it.
Yeah.
It's probably 1.25 miles. And, I'm walking with Michelle.
Yeah, she's super athletic.
She's the human version of the dog that doesn't want to walk anymore.
You had to drag her leash.
Yeah. So she got there, and then when we get there, there's no indoor seating, and she had to pee. There's only a porta john.
Oh, wow.
So I had to walk back. I left her there, walked back, got the truck, came and got her, and then we went somewhere else to sit down and eat. But so
Whoopsie.
I didn't know.
If you don't know, see, that's the thing. Like, sometimes I've had issues in the past with certain people I've traveled with before. I don't want to name any names because that's not what we're here for.
It kind of rhymed with Schmether.
Yeah, no, not even her, or maybe her relatives. I don't know. We're not going to say
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's true.
But people who break if you're new to a city and have never
Yeah.
been,
Yeah.
how are you breaking? I don't know. I've been here as long as you have. I
Yeah.
wanted to have an adventure.
I told Michelle that it's like I don't come here a week ahead of time to scout the place.
Like I didn't run it down and go like, oh,
I didn't take a crop
I
plane
didn't
over
bring
Traverse City.
like a compass and like a
Yeah.
measuring device. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
Yeah.
it's just certain people who have zero tolerance for like discovering a city. It's like, what do you want me to do? I don't know.
Yeah, so and that was Traverse City. It was okay. Listen, I'm not running back anytime soon. If you're
People love
if
it.
you're a
though.
boater, there's golf
First of all,
courses.
that sounded racist. Number
Oh,
one.
sorry. If you love golf though, on the way there, I passed at least 10 golf courses.
Well, because what? BV Acadia Bluffs out there, right?
Yeah, there's also
That's the number one course in all of Michigan.
the Grand Traverse Resort that I think has a Jack Nicklaus course
Yeah.
as well.
But I mean, that whole northern Michigan's got. We went to Gaylord the one time. It's beautiful to golf up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're into golf, you can go up there.
Yeah.
But again, you can golf here without driving 4
The
hours.
other thing too is it's crazy expensive. To your point.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Looking into this trip, all the hotels were over $300 to stay in Traverse City.
man.
Even the dumps were like
That
$300.
time of year, man.
Yeah, I was like, forget this. So I mean, it was fine. Next day we go to Charlevoix. Now, Stephanie is getting married. Let me backtrack. So Friday we had a welcome party. They had a welcome party where everyone is going to the wedding can go to this thing. They had hors d'oeuvres and drinks for free at this welcoming party. It was at the Boyne Mountain Resort. And I walk up, and me and Michelle, we had our masks on. I'm telling you, nobody wore masks. And nobody was social distancing. The Johnston
So
family
crazy,
don't give a
dude.
fuck.
Yeah,
And neither did the Jets family.
Irresponsible to me. Like,
So what we did, and we got some drinks.
how many people were there? Give me the number. How
At
many
the
people?
welcoming party, I would say probably around 70.
70 people. At the
If
How
I had
many
to
people were at
guess.
the physical wedding?
Probably like 110.
And no one's wearing masks at either of those events. I don't even know why I'm letting you in my house today.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted me to go work
Yeah.
from home.
Oh
But
my God.
Well, let me tell you our theory. So, and I know it's still not faulty, and I'm faulty at some things. So we went to the drink station, got the drinks, and then we went to the hors d'oeuvre station. We got a table, and I only tried to talk to people I knew, which was Randy,
You
Chuck,
knew who were doing it
and
right,
Jay.
kinda
the guy,
thing,
the
yeah.
guys I see every day.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
that's
you're around them.
But at the same
regardless.
token, those guys are floating around
Yeah,
talking to
talking
everybody
to
and
them,
coming
so
back.
that's how communal diseases
It's like so I'm
happen, yeah.
screwed either way. But I tried to stick to the people I
Jesus
know.
Christ, that seems super
Oh my
irresponsible.
god! And they had these hors d'oeuvres or pizza.
Were they good?
No, it was like little slices. It was like cardboard. I don't know what that. Michelle got. That's all she got was those 2 pieces of pizza. I got the chicken fingers. She bit it. I was like, did it just crunch? Why did that crunch?
It's like on a crostini.
Yeah, it was terrible. So we didn't stay long. We stayed maybe 45 minutes, and then we split. And so the next day is the wedding. We did some shopping during the day, but that, whatever. So then we go to Charlevoix, and it's a 30-minute ride from Boyne. It's all windy, dark country road type deals. It's during the day, though. And we get there, and this thing, there's nothing in Charlevoix, right? The parts I drove through, there was nothing. It was trailers, a couple general
so it's
stores.
very up north.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, is this giant castle.
I mean, does it look like a castle?
See that picture Bill's got up? That's it. Or it looks just like that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's called Castle Farms, it's called. And they are like Crystal Gardens here. They're just cranking out the weddings.
Oh, okay.
There was
So,
like
yeah.
2 other weddings there while we were
So
there.
they got them hustle. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
making that money.
So the part with the preacher and stuff is in a courtyard. And this is probably around 6 o'clock. And the sun's right over you, 85 degrees.
And you're masked
Not
up.
a drop of shade. You got a mask on. You got your shirt tied, undershirt. Oh my God, I was dying. I was sitting there like, you gotta be kidding me. They had no tents. I'm like, are you
No,
serious?
just bacon.
But the nice thing is the
How much?
ceremony.
Let me pause you for a
Yeah.
minute. So they're cranking these weddings out. How much? What kind of coin do you think they paid for that wedding? What's your
Well,
opinion?
Randy told me, and I hope they're not listening.
Oh,
But all
hold
total,
on. Let me isolate you on the camera.
now this is not just the castle though, but her wedding all total was $40,000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
And they're kicking out multiples of it a day.
Yeah.
Ooh, mama, that's
well, that's not $40,000 to the castle. That was the
I know, but I'm just saying.
If
like,
I had to
so
say, from what I
probably
understand,
the castle side's 20, 25.
yeah, they put $8,000 down deposit,
Yeah,
so
so
it's
it's a
more
third,
than 8.
yeah.
So it's
Dude,
crazy.
That's some serious coinage, man.
Yeah, so that castle's just knocking back to
Yeah.
back. And so
Even in the middle of a pandemic, dude.
yeah, so the ceremony again, me and Michelle stood at the end of the one row, try to stay away from people, and then the bridesmaids came down, the groomsmen came down, and they all stood right next to each other, like within a foot. And the bridesmaids actually social distanced from each other.
Oh,
I was quite surprised. Now I
But
found
meanwhile,
out
they were just at an event where they didn't give 2 shits. They were coughing and
Well,
sneezing
no.
on each other.
there's 2 bridesmaids. One's a medical emergency room nurse. So she had masks on the whole time, And when it came to the reception, she made them give her a table by herself in a corner somewhere. So she was not fucking around.
Well, what does that tell you, Steve?
Yeah, I know. And there was another girl who just had a baby.
Did you point that out to Randy? Like, did you notice?
I didn't see much of Randy. I got the one picture with him, but
one medical professional is not down with this situation.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so the ceremony, and then the preacher coughs while he's talking, and I looked over at Michelle. They just got COVID. A couple guys over by me start cracking up.
Wow.
I was like, Jesus. So that gets done, then they may put us under this underground, overground thing, or it's outdoors, but it's got a cover over it. Okay. I'm like, why the hell didn't they do the thing here? So it was kind of nice to get, again, free hors d'oeuvres and free drinks. I was just drinking Diet Coke at this time. Michelle's drinking a little bit. She has those Trulies she fell in love with. It was so disgusting. And that was,
are those the hard seltzer things?
Yeah, she loves
those
them.
Those are disgusting.
She had them at her cousin's wedding, and she's fell in love with them ever since. But that was, that was covered in ice. We stayed about an hour there, and then they move us back in the same courtyard. Now it's about 7:30. Now the sun at least went down below where the castle is, so now it's not so hot. So, and then we're in table 5. I'm like, table 5, we're up close.
Steve's like, dude, keep me in the back, like in the 60s.
Luckily, 5 was the back, we're in the very back. Okay. They put us with Chuck, the guy who owns Hair Mechanics, his girlfriend, James.
You said you were going to be a bunch of people you were exposed.
Yeah.
Knew about, right?
And there's only one new guy that was Tom's friend named Bill, and this dude was a riot. He was funny as hell. So then that was it. We sat around, ate the dinner. It was beef and chicken at the same time. So they give you a little chicken patty. It was like a roast beef, like a pot roast. I ate the shit. I ate Michelle's roast too. She didn't want it.
Was it plated or was it family style?
Plated. It came out. And, they did the usual trappings and stuff like that. But the highlight of the thing, so this Bill guy, and I told you he's funny, he shows up, it looks like lemonade, and it looks like a dandelion, like a little dandelion in the middle of his drink. And now I don't know the name of the drink, but I guess it's big in Vegas. And they had it when they were out in Vegas. So what you do is, it's tequila, sweet and sour, and then ginger in this drink. And then the flour. And the flour is called the buzz button. And what you do is you take the flour and you eat it. And it makes your whole mouth numb and super tingly like you're eating super Pop Rocks. It's kind of a crazy feeling. So this guy,
where did he get this from?
He's sitting there. No, they have it at the bar because the groom knew about it. They had it at Vegas.
They made a point.
Went out and bought a bunch of boxes of those flowers and the tequila and stuff. The drink was delicious. I only had a couple drinks. Like sips out of Michelle's and gave it back to her, and she was just pounding them, so she was feeling good by the end of the night. She loved it, and then she ate 2 of those flowers. I didn't like the feeling, and then it's like super intense, like I said, like Pop Rocks.
Like if you got a toothache or something like that.
I'm gonna find it. We'll have it on the podcast.
We'll bring that shit.
We'll have to. They sell it on Amazon, so I guess it's popular in Vegas. Buzz Button is the name of the flower. And Michelle fell in love with it. So that was the most unique thing about it. And of course,
the drink.
Sorry, go ahead.
The drink is called a verbena.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
It actually was created by the lead mixologist at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. That's
where they said they had it. Yep.
Did you know this, or are you looking that up right
now? No. When Steve was telling me about it on the phone Sunday night, my wife knew what it was.
Oh, wow.
But then I looked up where it came from.
Yeah, so that was the most unique thing. That drink was really unique. And the wedding went fine. Everyone had a good time. So
how long did you stay? You said you were going to dip kind of early. Did you stay?
I got out about 9:45. So the problem was, so the ceremony was 40 minutes or whatever. And then it was like an hour and 20 minutes before the reception.
Where you're hanging out.
So it ended up a lot longer than I anticipated.
And what was your drive back to Boyne? How long?
It's about 30 minutes. Now, that was the part, the windy road. Now, if you've been up north, with Pap on them, there's no street lights. So everything's pitch-ass black.
Yeah.
I'm driving. The cool thing about my truck, I didn't even know I had it. It has auto high beams.
Oh, so it knew that it was
it kicks it out, and then when someone else is coming, it'll go back low.
Wow.
And it passes. Yeah, feature I didn't even know I had in my truck.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, as I'm cruising doing 60 miles an hour, a little skunk decided to walk across. I'm like, oh, I'm like swerving. And then I'm going, and then literally 20 feet later, another skunk. I was like, ah.
Dude, what the
I didn't want to hit one of those. I don't-
Michelle's in the fence. Go, what are you doing?
No, she was screaming, don't hit it, don't hit it. I'm like, it's a little waddly skunk. So I was like, what the hell? That's the only wildlife we saw, no deers. Michelle was she was like, I don't want to see no deer. She was panicking about it.
Blow that deer out.
Yeah.
Jack your truck
That
up.
F-150
That
fuck up
aluminum
there.
F-150 will be a fucking post-it note.
But yeah, so that was my big trip up north. And like you said, if I was more of an outdoorsy person, I'd probably go back, but I'm not. So
All I know is from living in Southern Michigan, people can't get enough of that shit up there, man. They just love it.
And the traffic on the way back, I was telling you beforehand, on a Sunday, we got on the road by about 10 or 11, and it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. That 75 was a parking lot in a lot of cities. So there we go. Now, for a taste test this week, now Bill doesn't get to participate in the Traverse. I bought a Traverse City liqueur, the cherry liqueur, because I figured I might as well. Bill found a picture of it, though.
Kick it over to Steve so you can show the camera.
I didn't taste this.
I'm blocking. But,
I did take. They had.
Who's making it? What do you got?
This is Long Road Distillers. So we went into a dog bakery, and it was a dog bakery and coffee shop, and they had like a whole alcohol tasting thing. So I tried the orange, and it was 90% proof, and it tasted.
That's really rock gutty.
It tasted like paint thinner with a hint of orange.
Say, did you get 90-something proof?
I said, "Well, give me the cherry. We'll try that on the podcast." Because I thought,
so
well,
what do you pay for this guy?
that was $22 for that little bottle right there. Now, the lady who sold it to me said it's good on ice cream. I don't know how.
First of all, it looks like blood. Holy cow.
I don't know.
It
So-
should help you with your gout.
I don't know if this is good for gout or bad for gout. I couldn't tell you.
So again, this is Long Road Distillers cherry, Michigan cherry.
Take a whiff. It doesn't smell like cherries. It smells like alcohol.
It's got that burn. This is gonna burn.
I wish Bill could have some. Unfortunately, what we're going to do next time Bill's in town, we'll take all our alcohols, pour them in one glass, and let Bill drink it. He'll just die on the
It's
spot.
called podcast punch.
It's podcast punch for BB.
Nothing but for BB.
So there you go. This is the Traverse City.
I mean, oh, mama, that boy is cherry. Oh, that is cherry.
Hey, Bill.
It tastes like cough syrup.
Have
dude.
you drank the organic cherry juice for your gout? Have you drank any of that, Bill?
No, I had medication for that. So
I have, and this tastes like that, but with
That is
alcohol
some
in it.
serious cherry booze, man.
Well, liqueur is not really meant to be shot. It's meant to be
Mixed in
included
with
a
stuff,
mixed drink.
That is thick. It is just potent. It tastes like the worst medicine you ever ate.
It's like cherry flavored NyQuil.
Holy
Me and
shit,
Charles are going to take a
man.
nap halfway through the podcast.
And my whole insides are burning right now.
It's burning the whole way down. Now, the orange was stronger. That's only 70 proof. The orange was 90. You imagine
This
the
is only
orange.
70? This is potent.
Yeah, that'll get you fucked up. You drink a bottle of
It
that.
is so cherry burny.
Would it help your gout if you drank that bottle? I don't know.
It tastes a lot like cherries. I do gotta admit,
Yeah.
it's got a cherry vibe to it. It's
I
not.
seriously doubt it will help your gout.
I know I was being sarcastic, but
I gotta tell you, we've had a lot of liquors on the show. I would put this. I drink this before I would Terramana tequila. If
Really?
that's, I think at least it tastes like cherries. Most alcohol just tastes like burning shit. I don't know what that is.
now we got to make that mixed drink with the flour. We'll use the Terramana tequila.
Feel free. It's sitting up there. It's been up there since we
That's
tried
going to
it.
happen on a podcast. We're going to get Heather in here.
Like, I'd give this a mild thumbs. I don't know if you could mix it with something like a Sprite.
Yeah, I think that's
or
what you're
something.
supposed to do, right, Bill? Now imagine. Now, what if we put that with the peanut butter whiskey? Would it taste like a cherry jam and peanut butter?
Cherry jam and peanut butter.
I don't
That's what
know.
you
It
want.
might PBJ.
You just want to mix everything with that goddamn peanut butter whiskey.
I'm just saying. Well, you're taking a long time to drink that.
I can't drink it like you can. Man. It is such the thickest cherry taste.
Oh my God, Abby's so offended by you right now.
I don't give a
How long
shit.
it take you to drink this?
Mama, that's gross.
Accept the pain, Charles.
You're gonna sleep good tonight.
Oh.
Now, Bill, did you find the rotisserie Pringles?
Yeah, so welcome to the Pringles cast. We tried.
We need to be
I
sponsored by
didn't-
these.
I didn't find it, but
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. We've tried every freaking Pringles that there is
We
on
got
the
a lot of
planet
Pringles.
at this
And
point.
some for none of them have been good.
Yeah, I mean, every rogue flavor of Pringles is kind of whack. I
Of
don't
course,
know.
my wife ate some of these already.
That's all right.
might be time for a new direction.
Yeah, I think this is our last can of Pringles.
I know. Let Michelle know because she's definitely the one that's bringing them home to you.
Yeah, no, she said more Pringles for the
Heather, I go,
podcast.
we're trying another Pringle. apparently."
So this is rotisserie chicken. Well, see, Pringles put out like 4 new flavors all at once.
Well, chip companies do that.
Yeah,
We've had
so-
them do us a flavor ones before. And I got to tell you, so far, they're 0 for 2. This could be 0 for 3, depending on what this tastes like. So this is rotisserie. What is that face you're making?
They're actually not bad compared to the beef ones and the beef baconator ones.
They taste like someone took some chicken bouillon cubes
Yeah,
and threw
I mean-
them on a potato chip.
It's like someone dipped it in chicken noodle soup and just
Yeah,
gave it
I
to
don't
you.
know. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's completely
Is that
straight.
really what you want a potato chip though for? I mean,
Well, would I go out and buy it in the can? No, I'm buying the cheddar ones.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a world where sour cream and onion chips exist. Why
Yeah,
am
no.
I eating them?
feeding some chicken noodle soup, so I'll go get some Pringles chips that taste like it.
But if I'm going to rank our Pringles adventure, that's number 1. Number 2 is the Baconator, and the third one was that smoked cheddar thing that was just atrocious.
Yeah, that was bad.
That smoked cheddar was a huge swing and a miss.
So the chicken's probably the best one. But even at the best, it's still not like I
There's
want
a
to buy
million
more
other
of them.
good flavors
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Pringles. Like, what are we
Yeah,
going
I
to
mean,
see
I'm-
spit all over the
Yeah,
bag? Get them.
I buy some cheddar ruffles or something before I buy those cheddar sour cream and whatever. But there we go. So Traverse City cherry tastes like cherry NyQuil.
Oh, my God.
And my chest is still burning from it.
I got the heat, son. Got the heat.
All right, so now we're going into week 3 of our final reviews of Brockmire. And remember last week when I told you I wanted to do each season just to tell you if it goes up or down? Well, and Bill, you've seen this show as well. Did you finish season 4, Bill?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, I smell some negative.
Wow, I've never seen a show do a bigger 180 in my life.
Wow. So wait, so
Fell off of a cliff.
Yeah.
okay, so
Just
what
one
season?
fell swoop, just plop.
Whoa. So what season did it start to collapse in?
Started in 3 and fully collapsed in 4.
Did it start the whole season of 3, or you could see it
No.
kind of? We were going down roads you guys weren't into.
So like season 1's a 9, right? Season
you
2,
guys were so stoked
oh,
on that
it's
stuff.
funny as hell. He was season 2
I gotta
probably
tell
an
you, I'm
8.
still burning on the inside. Why do I owe every taste test? I feel for like another segment or 2. Anyway,
So season 2 is probably like an 8, close to a 9. So both
you're
of those
still
seasons,
loving season 1 and 2.
1 and 2,
wins.
one of some of the best TV I've ever seen.
Got a little hokey
Season-
towards the end, right?
Yeah,
Didn't you
that
say?
one last episode.
Yeah.
Well, they continue his sobriety for the whole 3rd season. So no longer he's the drunk debauchery that he's been having, but it's still kind of funny. So it's dropping down to a 7, maybe a mid 6. Season 4 turns into a 1. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Whoa.
They did this weird time jump where they jump
Forward
10
or
years in the
backward?
future.
Oh, into the future? Okay.
He gets a weird Manila daughter, a girl from Manila that's his daughter out of nowhere. And then, like, he spends all his time raising her and brushing her hair. And, like, season 4 is not even really, they don't even go for laughs. It's all supposed to be meant, like, this is what his life is now. And the U.S. is, like, falling apart. Like, the southern states are trying to succeed again. And Arizona is like a, what do they call it, Bill? Like a dead zone or something?
Disputed territories.
Disputed territories now. I don't know what the hell. I don't know.
Whoa.
It went so weird, so quick.
Did you guys kind of look it up? Did they have a writer change or what?
I didn't look it up, but I'm assuming whoever was running the
like
show,
a producer dipped or something
yeah,
like that?
something
Wow.
just totally happened, and I don't know.
Wow. Did you ask Wiggs like his take on
I
that?
haven't talked to Wiggs, so I'll have to
Okay.
ask him.
Yeah,
but-
I'd be curious to see where, because he was, you guys said he was OG to the show, and that's a huge departure.
Oh my god! And then he gets Parkinson's in the last episode. It's like,
Jesus.
and he's a recovering alcoholic, and I don't know what the hell they did.
He's just so off the rails. You guys
Yeah.
can't even explain.
Bill,
like-
Bill, what are your thoughts?
Well, I like season 3, I think, a little bit more than you did. Although you could see sort of signs that it was it wasn't quite as strong. I was looking at seasons 1 and 2 as, strong 9s, borderline 10. And then I'd look at season 3 as probably still being a good solid 7, but you could see a dip. They did manage to make the sobriety more funny than I expected. And then they start season 4. And in season 3, you're like, okay, this is, hopefully they do something, just at least keep it where it is. And then season 4, they immediately jump to the 10 years later, and everything's going crazy, and
Really crazy.
baseball's on the brink of extinction. They ask him to. They're trying to get some sort of publicity to the sport, so they ask him to become the commissioner, and basically most of it is him just being this really codependent, father that can't let go. Actually, when the first episode of season 4, when it came on, I was waiting to see if this was some sort of a weird flash forward where they'd come back to regular time, but they didn't. By the time they were in the second episode, they had gone three further years ahead.
Yeah, go like every episode went
Yeah,
up
like
a year
later, like each
So
segment.
they're
was
just
up.
going further and further down this rabbit hole that you guys
Yeah,
are
it
like,
was.
what in the hell?
It literally. He's not exaggerating. When there were certain parts at the end of season 4 that were funny enough that I didn't completely hate it. But that's to say that it went from a 1 to at times maybe a 4.
Jeez.
Like it wasn't great,
I've
but it
never
wasn't.
seen
So,
Funniest thing, that is
But
the
look,
most
I-
monumental collapse of a TV show I think you guys have ever chronicled.
oh yeah, I don't know
Hands
about you,
down.
Steve, but I considered cutting. I considered just cutting it off after like the first 2 episodes of season 4.
Wow.
I wasn't going any further.
You guys were both so jacked on that show, and then just to see
I've
the
never
come
seen
down.
that. Yeah, after the third
Wow.
season, after the third episode of season 4, Michelle just quit watching. She's like, I'm taking a nap. This is terrible.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
she bailed, and I powered through it. It's only 8 episodes.
You
this
felt a
season.
little ode to the end.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it's got to turn around. And it never did.
No.
And like, he really, like, literally, like, most of the season, he was just arguing with his daughter, and she was pissed at him for reasons because he wanted to be around for her. She was mad at him for that. Okay. And then, like, his drunk Amanda Pete, who's his drunk ex-girlfriend, she finally gets divorced from George Brett. And now they're kind of hooking back up, but she's still an alcoholic. So it just all the humor disappeared. There's one
like
funny,
all like the side talking, like ripping on people.
yeah, it all
you know.
just disappeared. I was like, what the fuck happened?
Wow.
It was amazing. I watched the first 2 seasons. Of
You're
this
saying
show.
the first 2 of that season are some of the best TV you could watch.
Yes.
And then to go into season 3 and 4. Wow.
What the fuck? If it was just the first 2 seasons, I'd say this TV show was a 9.
Oh, wow.
You add in 3 and 4, this TV show was a 6. And that's being nice.
And it was that Netflix hard.
If you take off the season 4, it might go back up to a 7 or 8.
Wow.
But wow, they should have
See.
done one more season of him being a drunk. So that's the first 3 seasons, and then the final
Wrapped
season.
those final 2 seasons in the last season.
Yeah, and the
Kinda.
final season where he's sober should have been the last season.
I
God,
get
it was
the
bad.
impression that they didn't go into that 4th season knowing or thinking it was the last season.
You think the rug was pulled out from underneath them, is what you're saying?
Well, either that or they were. It almost looked like one of those weird Game of Thrones situations where it looked like they kind of just rushed to put a story together.
Well, they picked the worst story.
That's
And
unbelievable.
I think they were trying to be a little topical because they were saying disputed areas and what the how.
What
people
year
are.
did season 4 air in, curiously? Is it like the past year or 2?
It just ended in February.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it just
It
happened
was trying to be a little topical, I think,
and just missed the mark. Wow.
yeah, it's like, oh god, it was terrible.
That's an unbelievable 180 from you guys.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm telling you, watch the first 2 seasons. It's gonna be one of the funniest fucking things you ever seen.
And those second 2, the last 2.
I don't know what the fuck happened in 3 and 4.
Steve's like,
But
find out.
to say season 4 was disappointing would be the understatement of the century.
Yeah, because Bill warned me. He was ahead of me by a couple episodes.
Oh, he could see the end.
and he
like,
said
this
he
is-
was struggling to get through 4. I was like, it can't be that bad. So I watched it on my iPad at the hotel because me and Michelle were watching it.
hanging out.
I was like, oh my god, I'm ruining my iPad battery for this.
Wow.
Yeah, it was terrible. Terrible. Couldn't believe it. So, Charles, you watched some Netflix.
Yeah, I want to do a little bit of a roundup of all things Netflix.
And I did watch one of the things.
Okay. So let's just go through the list real quick. There's a documentary that came out. It's under an hour long. It's called Speed
Yeah, it's only
Keepers.
40 minutes.
Yeah. And it's about the national people of these, like, these people that can solve Rubik's Cubes way too fast.
Yeah.
And there's all these like weird rules to it. And
They do one-handed.
yeah, and like weird like
And then I didn't know there was different Rubik. Not to interrupt you, but
you're fine.
3x3, 5x5.
yeah,
7x7.
different Rubik's,
I
man.
was
And
like, what?
then there's the one hand, the behind. There's a lot of rules where they would like expose it where you couldn't see. All that sounds good, but I mean, the documentary, and me and Steve kind of talked about it pre-show. There wasn't enough there to kind of make it compelling. There was one kid who basically befriended another autistic kid who ends up being the world's best at Rubik's Cube. And they kind of tie it back to this speed cubing stuff is what brought this kid with autism kind of out of his shell. And that's a feel-good story or whatever.
Yeah.
But it didn't make for very compelling TV. I'd say if you got 40 minutes, I'm into weird things if we've chronicled on the show quite a bit at this point. That's what immediately struck me on the show, but it's a solid 5.
It was too much on the autistic kid.
Yeah.
I would like to see maybe a couple other competitors.
They didn't, and there was no rivalry. Everyone was kind of like
friends
very,
and nerd.
just
It was the ultimate nerd competition.
Yeah, so-
but I'll tell you what, though, one thing I took away from that, I want one of those goddamn timers where you hit the thing.
You know what's funny?
What is
I
that?
recognize those timers. Those are actually speed stack timers for those kids that stack cups.
Oh, I didn't know what those timers were.
I'm into weird shit. If you can't tell from this show, I knew that. I go, Heather, those are those cup timers. She goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, those are speed stack timers.
now-
You can get those.
Ironically enough, Holly really got into this. So me and Holly watched it.
I mean,
Michelle
they're
was
probably the
doing
same
this.
age group. I can see why.
And even she was like, but she's never done a Rubik's Cube. She's like, it ain't that hard. I mean, I go, have you ever done a Rubik's
There's
Cube?
definitely a trick to it, and you can learn to be faster at. But I'm not claiming I know how to do
She
that.
claims she can watch YouTube and learn it. I go, all right, I'll mix up a Rubik's Cube. I'll give you 20 minutes, not 10 seconds.
Yeah.
20 minutes. You're not gonna get it. Oh, I can do that.
Oh,
She's
wow. She was
convinced.
confident.
So
huh?
I'm gonna get one, mix it up, and hand it to her.
I think
ass.
we might have one here.
Yeah,
I'll have to look. You
Then
might
we'll
have
hit the
one too.
fucking timer. All right.
Yeah, I'm not making that, but there is a trick to it. You and I both know that there, but
Well, they said in it, there's so many
there's like an algorithm.
and this,
Yeah. You got to figure out, and then you put your fingers in a weird spot so you know, and then you can. That's how you get the speed going.
Yeah, but
Nonetheless, the documentary was just okay.
Yeah.
If you got a spare hour and you like obscure things like I love, then you might want to check it out. If not, it's probably a pass. The other thing I wanna break BV's balls a little bit right now.
oh, BV's ball breaking.
So, The Last Dance, the ESPN documentary on Michael Jordan, made it
It's
to
on
Netflix.
for some reason.
This is great. Okay, BB didn't sell it enough. Steve, this is some of the most compelling stuff you'll see, especially in that Jordan era of
He
basketball.
didn't sell it enough. He liked
Maybe I
it.
didn't sell it enough.
Dude, this is fantastic.
God damn it, Bill.
BB was lukewarm.
Well,
Like, yeah, it was okay. No, this is some of the most compelling shit. I need.
I think the problem
Best
you're going to
sports-
have is the same problem I have with this Todd McFarlane thing coming up. Bill probably knew most of it going
Oh,
in. That's
is
why.
that
it
what
wasn't
it is?
You don't know a lot of
I-
it.
that-
He
that-
knew
Fair
most.
amount of it, yeah.
He
I
probably
probably
knew
about
95% of it.
60% of it.
I guarantee he did.
Yeah,
It
so
was-
I
Well,
found
I
this.
tons of accolades. Every week I was telling you how good it was.
Dude, you were not as hyped as you should have been. You were at an 8.
Sorry, I'm not as
needed-
adamant or animated about it. as
God
you are.
damn it,
That
BB,
liquor
up
make
your
you
game. What's that?
that liquor like raised my temperature.
Yeah, dude, it got extra hot. in here.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, Steve, this is, and again, I'm a sucker for behind the scenes. I loved it. Oh my God. They followed him. The form of storytelling that they did too.
You
They
watched all 10 episodes?
in like a day and a half, Steve. I sucked it up like you wouldn't
have,
believe.
Like ass welts?
Dude, it was great. I can't. Again, BV undersold it. This is amazing TV. BV is wrong. This is a solid not. This
Bill's
is
at it every
some-
week telling us how good it is. Bill, you suck.
BV was like, yeah, well, shit, I don't know.
9 was not enough.
God damn it, BV.
You should give him a 10.25.
Dude, I'm telling you, this shit is great. If you have Netflix, this is one of the best things to watch, hands down. Don't let BV's lukewarm review of it justify what I'm trying to tell you. Great TV. Again, I'm breaking BV's balls, but man, super good storytelling. The 30 for 30 team. They interviewed so many people in it, and just everyone came out. they showed Jordan footage where he's talking shit and he would like laugh at whatever someone said.
Yeah.
Steve, this is
You
so
think it's
good.
dumb of them to let Netflix have that? Shouldn't they just kept that on ESPN Plus?
I think that they have some kind of someone had to help produce. It was so elaborate. I think they took some money with streaming rights already built in or something.
Okay.
Again, BV sold it short. This is amazing storytelling.
Bill's just sitting there shaking his head like, what the fuck, man?
Dude, he just really was lukewarm.
For the
I'm here to
record,
tell you.
He liked it every
It's on
week.
Netflix. I'll go back and watch it again.
Dude, it was so good, man.
Why you watch it again when you were lukewarm on it?
Yeah, he was barely into it.
Yeah.
He was barely into it.
I'm sorry I didn't give it a 19 and a half.
Dude. But again, I'm breaking his balls, but again, watch it on Netflix.
I like to play a little game during the podcast of guessing what's in BV's background because his arm moved. He has an Amazon box to the right over his right
Oh, he
shoulder.
kind of revealed.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you get little reveals. What's in Bill's
See
back.
behind BV's curtain.
Yeah. It's like the Wizard of Oz.
You have an Amazon box behind me. You're
Yeah,
right.
I saw it.
All right, so now we're gonna keep Netflix as positive, except for when we talk about your shitty animation show
How
that
dare
I
you.
watched. Another positive thing, I hope BV watch it. He'll probably undersell it. I'm gonna tell you it's great. Last Chance You came back.
Haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to watch it.
Okay, so we
Big
moved.
fan of that show.
Dude, that show's great. So we moved. It's got a different tone this season. Now we're not into the usual like independent U's and these there's not a lot of like D1 people that kind of flunked out. They moved to Laney College, which is in Oakland, California. And now this Laney College doesn't have dormitories, doesn't have scholarships. It's basically a small community college that tends to get and this particular community college won the state JUCO championship in California last year. So then they chronicle them this year. Different tone than, as I'm sure BV will say from last time, where you had like a lot of like D1 flunk outs and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have that vibe. It's got more of that vibe of like these kids didn't get offers and they're going to work towards those offers. Again, BV will tell you it's just okay. This is a great show on Netflix. I want to make sure we understand.
All right.
Don't let BV's lukewarm on Last Chance You.
I'll try not to
Stop
let
me
it
from that, man. BV's just so lukewarm on everything. It's good. Now, another good show that's old school, and I know you recognize it, Supermarket Sweep.
Now, is this a new one with the girl from
No,
Saturday
this
Night
is not. This is the OG 1990s. Michelle's on there with her hair all poofy and
Oh,
shit like
man.
that. Yeah, I forgot how much Supermarket Sweep I must have watched back in the day because I knew all the games. And Lorna's looking at me like I'm a crazy person. I didn't realize I love Supermarket Sweep is what it boils down to. There's a great little collection. It's a fun 90s throwback for someone like Michelle who still has her clothes in the closet and can tease her hair up and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be BV lukewarm on this. It's not for everybody, but if you've got...
A side note to this, because this came out on Netflix, the host guy is getting pounded on like Facebook, Instagram.
What do you mean pounded?
Like tons of people are messaging him like
David Ruprecht or whatever
Yeah,
his name
they
is?
found him online and they're all like,
Oh, man.
"Oh, man, Supermarket Sweep,
Yeah.
So they went out and
I
found
do
him.
got to tell you, I got a soft spot for that show, and I watched a lot of it back in the day because Heather's even looking at me like, how do you know all this shit? Like, dude, I love Supermarket Sweep. So,
Side note, my mother-in-law watches this on the Game Show Network all
oh,
the time.
it's still on.
I see
in-
it every
in
holiday.
syndication. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was
Side
just.
note, not to give Charles more ammunition with this, but I don't know what Supermarket Sweep is.
There goes lukewarm BV again.
I've never seen it. I wasn't aware of it.
No. It's a cheesy 90s game show. It was on, and I figured out the other show that it was on with. Do you remember the show Shop Till You Drop where they had the mini mall and they had to go
Yeah,
exchange the gifts and all that?
I didn't watch that one that much. Supermarket Sweep I did watch.
Dude, I watched a lot of this shit because I knew all about it and I was way into it. So that's my Netflix
The
roundup.
best part about Supermarket Sweep is the very end where they run through the store.
Oh,
like
completely.
crazy,
Because you think about like in the 80s and 90s going on the Toys R Us one. You know,
Didn't the
everyone-
host always wear a sweater?
Oh, he wore like the worst. It's just, and then they change him into like the colored sweatshirts
Yeah.
and stuff. Great show. But anyway, that's my Netflix roundup. If you're gonna watch one of these shows, is you gotta and go against BV's better judgment. Watch The Last Dance. It's that good. I'm telling you, dude. That
Feels like I said this shit a month ago.
dude, oh my god, man! I holly consumed that shit. Like I
really?
was, Dude, it is so good, so compelling. He's a psychopath. Like, you realize, like, I've never met a dude or seen a guy so competitive in my life. And BV touched on this a little bit when we talked about him.
Just barely.
Just
I don't
barely. He barely was talking about it.
He kept talking about Pippen.
Yeah, he was all like, "Oh, so Scotty" and all this shit. But I'm just telling you. So. I need you to be a little more passionate about your likes, BV. So anyway,
And for the record, speaking about the original Binger, Holly is making her way through Grey's Anatomy, almost already caught up to the new stuff. That's how much she's pounded through.
I don't know much about Grey's Anatomy.
I know it's like 20-something seasons. Just my daughter's watched almost 19 of them. Sad. All right, now this next one, Charles and I might disagree a little bit.
A little bit, I'm going to be passionate the other direction.
There is a
one.
loophole in this series, and I'll tell you why. Transformers War for Cybertron Siege is the subtitle on that one. This is the storyline is to take place right before the Transformers got on the ship to come to Earth. That's essentially what it is. It's 6 episodes, 22
because they
minutes
basically because Megatron is slowly taking over everything,
and they bail.
They bail.
Yeah, essentially is what it is. Now what they
now
do,
in this, Bumblebee is an Energon hunter. He doesn't, and then they're courting him to join the Autobots.
yeah, there's a lot of Autobots that aren't Autobots in this. Like Jetfire was one.
Yeah.
Bumblebee was one. Ratchet was another one. It's sad that I knew most of their names before they even came on.
Yeah,
I'm like, this
just telling
Wheeljack.
you.
Michelle's like, that's amazing that you know all these stuff.
Yeah, and here's why Steve loved it. It's a
It tugged on my nostalgia balls.
It's a very fan servicey piece of TV. It's 100% fan service TV. You could see what it was played for. The animation shit. You're gonna tell me otherwise. It didn't look that good. It wasn't.
Well, what are you expecting though?
I thought you'd get a bet like. It was very clunky. It didn't come off smooth kind of anime look or any kind of like modern 2020 kind of. They went for like an 80s vibe to. It rubbed me all sorts of wrong. Is what I'm going to tell you right now.
You didn't like how Soundwave looked? I thought he looked good.
You're reaching right now. That's all I'm going to say.
There is a plot hole in it though. They killed Ultra Magnus in this. Now, if you remember, Ultra Magnus is in the Transformer movie, which takes place after the Transformer TV series did. So that's kind of a loophole, unless they're going to bring him back to life in the next series.
With my fat arm, I hit the thing here. Anyway, so yeah.
So there is a little bit of a plot hole there. And of course, all the Autobots that were Decepticons that are jumping back and forth, that didn't make much sense either. And then the female robots, there was like a ton of them.
They were all very shoehorned in, I felt, as well.
But they kind of did that because they left. There's 3 female robots. 2 of them stayed on Cybertron, which in the original animated series you wouldn't have saw them. And then the one that ends up in the Transformer movie, RC, she ends up going on the ship. But where was she during the original series? Just taking a nap. But she does show up in Transformers the movie. So there are some loopholes here and there, and this is just nitpicking nerd stuff at this point.
I got through 3. It's only 8
Didn't
episodes.
care for the voice.
It was only 23
It was 6
minutes.
episodes.
It was 6? I thought it was 8.
Yeah, 6.
It was only 22 minutes, so they stuck to the same format as the OG show as well. I thought the audio was all sorts of bad for me.
Some of it, I did watch most of it on my iPad because I watched Was Up North. So that might have skewed it a little bit for me. Maybe I need to watch it on the big screen and see if it looks worse. I didn't like the voice acting either. A lot of the voice actors weren't the original. Starscream was the new guy. It seemed like Megatron's voice was new.
Very
Optimus
whiny, very
new.
like Cobra Commander whiny and stuff like
and
that.
they really underpowered Prime. Like he got in a fight with Megatron. Megatron just kicked his ass.
And then, like I said, like he was very whiny. Like, dude, I did not dig
this. Gets to Steve 6. I was hoping for an 8 or 9.
I'm closer to like a 3 or a 4. I was super because I have. Not to your point, because you were 4 years older than me when that first show aired, but like I like Transformers. I guess I wanted more Transformers, just the movie. I think in 2020, I think,
and you got more of the CG blocky animation.
Yeah,
than
it wasn't as slick or as cool as I thought it could be. I think is what I would say.
Did you see the Bumblebee movie?
No.
There's an opening scene. The animation is kind of like that. It looks like that, but better because it's movie version. I think they're supposed to make a movie like that. Now, the next one up after this is He-Man. He-Man's coming back. So
in CG, or what is he coming back as?
it's supposed to be 2D, and it's supposed to take place after the original series. Are you excited for that?
I would watch it for sure.
So that, and Netflix is getting that. Kevin Smith is the show director on it.
Okay.
So
He definitely will be,
he's the right nerd for the job,
yeah,
right?
that's
So
what I'm saying.
we'll see. That's the next one coming. I think that's early next year, so we'll see that one. I don't have too much animation-wise next week. I didn't get to it, but I will get it for next week. The new Muppet Show. I did not watch it.
Yeah,
yet.
I haven't seen that either.
Also,
yeah.
I'm working my way through Umbrella Academy. Really liking this season, so we'll see. Now, this last one I saw right before going up north, and I, like Bill with the Last Dance, I knew 90% of this. So, but there were some nuggets here and there. Todd McFarlane, like hell I won't.
Yeah, so I actually watched this on YouTube. I found it on Gizmodo, showed it to me that it was actually available, or showed had an article.
I watched it on the Sci-Fi
the
website.
app or something like that. Yeah,
The website. Yeah.
Okay. And so it was basically an hour-long documentary discussing Todd McFarlane's rise in the ranks of the comic books and kind of how he came to be who he is and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like Speed Cubers. It's not as bad as Speed Cubers. I think that the content's a little more compelling, I would argue, in the Todd McFarlane stuff, because you're definitely, if you're of our age where you remember the 90s and all that kind of stuff, you're going to remember Image Comics, and you're going to remember that rise that happened. And it was neat that they touched on all that. They also touched on how Image was different with the creators owning the content, all that kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's not amazing. To Steve's point, you're not going to learn anything that's super compelling or whatever. But like you see his raw talent and kind of where he
And his ambition, his drive.
Yeah, he was just sending letters to everyone like every day and stuff like that.
that's
It's
pretty
unbelievable.
Had
right?
like 300 rejection letters or something.
Yeah, and just kept going until
Yeah.
one dude said, "Yeah." I mean, he's the poster child for that determination.
Yeah,
right?
he's the Rudy of comic books.
Yeah, and you see him inking a lot of stuff throughout it. I'm sure I know Bergeron doesn't want to listen to us talk about this, but like to see him doing the inking and all of the drawing and stuff.
He was a really big control freak over his stuff. What amazed me, some of it that they covered. Now, see, 2 years ago there was a documentary about Image itself, and that covered a lot of what and all those guys: Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mike Silvestri, Eric Larson, a lot of those guys. So it covered all those guys, and this one just pretty much focused on him. So you saw a lot of that in the Image documentary. But the one thing I didn't know is that Marvel had a way. You got to be within the panels. You got to do this.
And he kind of bucked that. He's always like, "Well, why?"
Yeah.
And he did that same kind of like, why is it like this for toys? I don't understand. And
That's the one thing I was hoping they would do is go a little. He just said, so we made a toy company.
yeah, they really didn't go off into
I'd like to
McFarlane
know,
toys.
like, how did he get the money? How did he figure out how to make these toys? What artist did he hire to help design and sculpt these? I would have liked a little more detail on the toy
it was
aspect.
definitely more comic book and angle. I would argue
just
that,
because no one at the time did that kind of stuff, I'd like to know what took the balls to do all that and kind of
So
funding,
you saw an Image document. Give the myself and the audience or anyone listening right now, what's the brief? Like, what happened to Image? Is still around, correct?
Yes, still around.
Are they owned by a parent company or anything like that? They never sold
Nope,
out? Are they
never
still
sold out.
independent? Okay.
A lot of those guys in the 90s weren't getting paid enough from Marvel. Marvel was notoriously cheap, and they soon went bankrupt right after this.
They didn't put a lot of stock into the artists because they probably had so many people.
Yeah, people
They're
are
like the
buying us-
WWE.
Yeah, people are buying us because we have Spider-Man and X-Men, not because you're drawing it.
Yeah.
And Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld.
Wildcats.
Rob Liefeld was Youngblood and Supreme.
Yeah.
Mark Silvestri, he was the Pit and Max. And then there was Eric Larson, Savage Dragon with the
Yep,
big green
yep,
tail.
yep.
Those 5 left. They were all Marvel artists, and they were all cranking out big books, all selling big money. And they all left.
This is at the height
This
of
is
the
92,
collector
93,
market
somewhere in
with the
there.
Griffey card for Upper Deck, which has a great documentary on Netflix for that. This is that whole, like, the collector market went insane.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Early, mid-90s was
Yeah,
just
with
an
your glossy
insane
covers and
time.
everything else.
78 iterations of everything.
So those 5 guys essentially left and founded Image. And each one of them got all the money and rights to each character
That was
made.
they made a point in that documentary
Mm-hmm.
to say the Image was going to be different, that you were going to own your content.
What it essentially ended up being was 5 different companies all under one flag. So what happened eventually, Jim Lee founded Wildcats and all that, and Wild Storm is what his production company came. So it was a Wild Storm production under the Image thing,
I get you.
which he then turned around and sold it to DC, and ever since then he's been with DC working.
I get you.
Rob Liefeld too. His was something, and then he ended up going back to Marvel. And then they cut him a deal on Deadpool, and they made Deadpool movies and stuff like that.
Okay.
So a lot of them ended up going back to the big companies. There's only two that didn't, which is Todd McFarlane, who stuck with Spawn.
You could make the argument he made the biggest banger with Spawn out of that whole group.
Yeah, and he stuck with it. And the other guy was Savage Dragon, which is still around to this day.
Is Savage Dragon still around? I don't think I knew much about that.
It wasn't as popular as Spawn, but that guy just
Spawn is still
and
here.
also Image. Eventually later on in the early 2000s, the guy who created Walking Dead ended up with the Image.
Yeah, okay.
The guy with the beard. I can't think
he
of
was
his
on
name
the
right now.
documentary.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
over the place.
He ends up in Image as well.
Okay.
So to this day, it's the Image's number one character is Spawn, and then the Walking Dead. You would say the Walking Dead probably surpassed
But
it
Image
for a
is
while.
not a very big company, broad stroke wise, because each individual person runs a production company that produces their content.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they all printed under that Image name. So a lot of independent comic book owners like to work for Image because they get their money.
You own your content.
And that's
a huge
that's
thing.
the story of Image. It's essentially. And right after that, Marvel. Everyone thinks Marvel was always worth billions. In the mid '90s, they were going bankrupt. That's why they sold the movie rights to Spider-Man to Sony, and
this
Fox,
day,
X-Men and Fantastic Four went to Fox.
They were worth something to
Yeah,
those
they were
companies.
worth something. They had to make some scratch, and Stan Lee was in lawsuits with Marvel because they weren't paying him his rights and stuff. So Marvel wasn't always. Everyone always thinks, oh, it's been rosy and making billions of dollars. That ain't the case.
Sketchy company at some point.
I know quite a bit about comic history for some reason, but anyways, back
For
to
some
Todd
reason.
some reason, I don't know why. Todd McFarlane, he's still cracking it out. He just
I
did
thought it was
issue
a pretty
300.
compelling little documentary.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7. It was entertaining.
yeah.
I just wish they would have delved a little more into the toy stuff because that I don't know. I don't know, like what kind of financing, what kind of sculptors, what did they do? How do you get a fucking giant toy company off the ground? I'd love to know something,
Especially
like
with the detail that he asked for.
yeah. So it's just like the collector's market the Bill was part of with the baseball cards and all that shit in the 90s. All of it's worth dick now, so it doesn't
basically.
matter. Bill,
Because what it boiled down to was production. They made so many of these things. There's no rarity to it.
yeah, that was ironic. On YouTube, there's a documentary about Are Your Comics Worth Anything? And it's pretty much 70s and older are.
Because there's rarity to it.
80s and 90s, everything was mass produced and nothing's worth anything.
but
Even
then
that Death of Superman that was going for $75.
It was a false collectability. It was a false rarity that didn't exist. Yeah.
And then just like the baseball card company and Bill, do you have any baseball cards left or yours are all gone?
No, I long since sold out of mine. I sold most of mine when I was a teenager, actually.
Yeah.
Did you make any coin when you were a teenager? Because that would have been during the height of it.
Not as much as I could have in some areas. Like for example, I had a few because baseball or basketball cards particularly were really cheap when I was young. I sold, I think 3 or 4 Jordan rookie cards and made good money off of them. But if I had held them an extra 3 or 4 years, probably would have doubled it.
Yeah, it's tough.
I just sold all my comics in about 95. I would have cashed in pretty good then.
That was kind of the height of your market, as you
And
know.
then I held on to everything, and now it's not worth dick. Yeah, another Steve financial note. A year and a half ago, I had 7-Eleven stock.
Yeah.
It's about $40. It would never go up, never go down. So I sold it, got the money, and bought some Disney stock.
They just bought
Speedway.
Yeah.
I don't know what their stock
For
is now.
$21 billion.
Yeah, don't ask
something
Steve for
crazy.
financial advice. I don't know. What do I know? All right, so Bill doesn't have a book report this week, but actually I do.
Oh. That
So-
was you. I thought it was BV.
No,
Oh,
this
okay.
is me. I tried something
See what
new
that
this week.
book was? That was never going to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So, Charles, like you know, I got a little free thing on Apple TV. I watched Greyhound, which was fantastic. And there's a trailer on there. Have you seen that
Yeah,
trailer?
I did. I talked about it on the show, if you remember.
Called
I said to
Foundation,
you,
right?
yeah, it looked great.
It's based on this book.
Isaac Asimov, who made the rules of AI and all
so,
this stuff. Yeah.
unlike Bill, Steve is lazy, and I'm not going to read. So I signed up for Audible, and we'll talk about
I had
discuss-
Audible as well. I remember the Adam Savage book I did was on Audible.
Yeah, so we'll discuss that in the next segment. But so I got the book Foundation from 1952, Isaac Asimov. Just based on that trailer, I'm like, it's got to be
It
good.
looked
Look at this.
amazing.
Let me tell you, Charles.
Uh-oh. We're gonna make a hard turn here, BB. Hang on.
Remember what I said about Brockmeyer? Well, Brockmeyer had the ability to be good for 2 seasons.
Oh wow.
Foundation is terrible.
Wow. So you don't even know like how they cut that trailer out of that, or
I can see the character. So the concept's there. All right? The concept's there. This is way in the future, 20,000 years, whatever in the future. We have populated the galaxy. Humans are everywhere. There's no aliens. There's no fucking warships. There's nothing cool like that. There's no fucking Jedi. None of that shit.
Okay.
Not even a robot, all right? It's
Okay.
just, we have populated all the planets.
so we have figured out an energy form to push
Yes.
people
And
to
Earth
the
is
outer
kind of a
reaches.
myth like it was in Battlestar at this point. Because it's fell in the history books.
Gotcha.
People don't even remember where Earth was.
Okay.
So there's a galactic empire. Now, they say this book influenced Star Wars. That's the only part I can think of.
The Empire word was
yeah,
in
the
there?
Empire word. So all the human government is called the Galactic Empire. There is a doctor. He's the old British actor you see in the trailers. I can't think of his name right. Henry Seldon is called. Seldon. He has psychohistory. It's called. It's a very futuristic math that can predict the future.
Okay.
Of groups of people. It can't predict your individual
So
future.
it has algorithms to say like
Yes.
these people on this particular
Exactly.
planet are going to be in trouble.
Yes. So what it does is it predicts that the Galactic Empire is going to crumble in 500 years.
Okay.
So he is collecting 100,000 scientists, the best there is, sending 50,000 to one planet on one side of the galaxy, 50,000 to the other side, and they're going to build and maintain all the human knowledge. Because after the Galactic Empire falls, it's going to be like a Dark Ages for 10,000 years.
I got that. I'm not that. It doesn't sound that bad.
It doesn't sound that bad.
It was very dry to like read.
So that all that concept I gave you some cliff notes, and that was pretty
it
good.
sounded pretty good.
Yes, I'm like, man, that's pretty exciting.
And
at
it
the
sounds
end
like
of-
a compelling piece of science fiction.
Yes, and at the end of the first chapter, the Galactic Empire gets a hold of him, puts him on trial for being, traitor,
Like,
and saying we're
yeah.
going to fall. So all that's good.
They're trying to like hedge their bets, saying like we're not going nowhere. Who's this
Yeah.
guy talking this shit?
Yeah, in the end, he gets out of the trial because they think, well, he might be right. They give him the power to do his 2 colonies on each side of the galaxy, and then it commences to just talking for 8 hours, and nothing happens.
Oh wow.
So it's like, yeah.
wow.
And I haven't read a lot of books. Bill's probably read way more than I have, but like Tolkien, what Tolkien will do, like the Battle of Helm's
He
Deep.
fleshes it out very.
Yeah,
deep.
it's like
Yeah.
there's these mountains and these. He doesn't kind of do that. They're on this planet Terminus. Go. That's really. He doesn't talk about any kind of robots or spaceship. So it's so dry. It's so boring.
Oh wow.
Holy Christ! I don't know what Apple's gonna do.
Oh man.
They better
Maybe
take
it's
some
better
big
with
liberties.
visuals. One of the things that's nice that
There's no action.
there's no action. It's pure just dialogue and political.
Dialogue upon dialogue upon dialogue about what we're going to do and why this person, why should we cater to them when you could be the king and blah blah blah.
I was so into that trailer. I was blown away by that trailer.
I think they're going to take a lot of liberties with that, and that trailer is going to be a lot more.
it's going to be
intense,
very
a lot-
based on Isaac Asimov's
Yeah,
Foundation.
it's not going to be anything like that book. I
man.
have a feeling.
I got a huge science fiction hole in my life that I need.
Yeah,
to
so do
fill.
I, and I tried to fill it with that. And I pooped it out immediately.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like that Dev show that I wanted to watch with Nick Offerman. I was like,
it reminds me a lot of like early Star Trek. Let's find this logical way to
Star Trek's tough for me.
Yeah.
I need some kind of
Now
like,
the new Star
ultimate-
Trek's great. Those movies. Have you
Oh,
seen?
you talking about the J.J. Abrams?
Yeah,
ones?
yeah. Those are
fantastic.
essentially Star Wars with a
Yeah,
Star Trek
yeah.
skin. But these are bad. It was bad. In 1952, so it's a lot of. They're still writing books and stuff in the future. I don't know. It's not good. Not good. Nah, man. So I didn't like it at all. And I thought I was crazy because most people online are telling me it's a grandfather sci-fi and it's great. But I Googled, is the Foundation books boring? I found quite a lot of Reddit ones going, I don't get it. It's so long and boring. So, but like I said, the concept's there. So if Apple just takes the concept and makes it exciting,
You can see it.
so it'll be good. So now that's going to lead us into our reviews. I tried Audible. Charles, you've tried it. You said?
Yeah, I have. I got to tell you, in my opinion, from someone who doesn't like, I love podcasts, as we host one right now out on the Facebook. Hey, what's up, world? I love podcasts. I think it's a great way to consume stuff while you're driving and stuff like that. It's a great way, and Audible fits right into that. But much like the reason why I don't read books is there's a serious time commitment to it. Now, the other problem I have with Audible too is they nickel and dime the crap crap out of you. So
Yeah.
there's a monthly subscription fee which entitles you to one book
For $15.
for $15, and then you get a discount on any other books you were to purchase.
Yeah. And if you purchase them, they're about $22. So by signing up for Audible, you're saving about $7 a book if you get one book a month.
Yeah.
So I signed up. I get two. The first one I got was Foundation. There's sequels to Foundation, but I'm done. Not going to watch it. I'm done.
Written
with
by
those.
the same Isaac Asimov guy?
Yes, he's wrote a ton of books. So he wrote a lot up until the 60s, Bill was telling me. And then he disappears until the 80s and comes back in the 80s. Bill?
He still writes, but his renaissance kind of happens back in the 80s.
Is he
70s.
still alive or is he dead now? He's probably dead now, right?
I'm not sure, but I'll check.
Yeah, because he was 21, and I think when they said he wrote his first book. So in 2020, he's got to be up there.
Anyway, we derailed away from Audible. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So, and it's not a bad deal. I mean, if I was really into books. So now I need some help from you two. I gotta get some action. I can't sit through another Foundation. So I've got it whittled down to one of the new Star Wars books that takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Well, let me ask a question, though. So back to the point of why I enjoy an Audible is because like I said, are you going to consume a lot of it when you're driving in the F-150 when we got some headphones on at work? What is your game
Mostly
plan?
at work.
Yeah,
Mostly
okay.
at work. So I
Kind
put
of like how you do your podcast.
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
lot
I
of
put the
that.
headset on, start doing my project or whatever I'm working on, and just leave
Mm-hmm.
it going. So Randy
about-
doesn't get that. He's like, "How do you do that?" I go, "What do you mean?"
That's the best.
I go, "It's just I hear it and I'm doing my work
So
at the same time."
I do the same
He can't
thing.
do that. It messes him up.
Oh, really?
He has to completely go 100% into whatever he's doing. Either it's the work or listening. He can't do one or the other.
So he's got ADD, is what you're telling me.
It must be, I guess.
Yeah, so like I did a big cabling project at work, and I listened to countless podcasts. As I listened to the one Peter Schiff, Joe
Mm-hmm.
Rogan, I put on a podcast and go. It's the best way to do it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
The only thing that sucks for me is sometimes my headset dies. I could get a cord out, but that's no big deal.
BB, do you do any audiobook?
I don't. I also enjoy podcasts and listen to things as I'm working, but with books, I find that if I'm just listening to a book, it's too easy for me to tune it out. Like for example, in parts that are not quite as enjoyable or as exciting as others. Whereas if I'm actually physically reading a book, I have to stay more engaged just to move through it. So,
So I've read The Lord of the Rings and I've read most of the Game of Thrones. Well, these first 3, and then I stopped because I was like,
What I think you need to do, you need to go to that science fiction section of Audible and just see what's popping.
Well,
Get a bestseller science fiction and get
that's
popping with it.
what I'm bringing up to you guys. I have it narrowed down to 2 different ones. I don't know which one you think.
Okay, let's pick BB. Or
first-
BB, let's pick Steve's book here.
Bill just disappeared.
BB died.
All right.
It's nice knowing you, BB.
Someone just robbed Bill's house.
I'm gonna mute him.
So, oh, he's back.
Oh, BB, are you okay? Do you need us to send help to
yeah,
you?
I thought I muted it.
He disappeared.
So I had to
So-
get up and check.
I've read Star Wars books in the past, and I know they're at least exciting. So I got Star Wars Aftermath. It takes place right after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, but then you're going to be the
between
annoying
Force
book douche where, like, the next movies that come out, you're going to be
I know
super annoying about it.
That's the only thing. And then the other one is I want to go to a Conan book, one of the Robert Kraft
Yeah,
original Conan.
yeah,
I mean, he's a barbarian. There's new chicks. He's fighting things, giant serpents. So which one do you think I should go with?
I guess here would be my 2 cents. There's not a lot of layers to the Conan onion, I guess is what I'm trying to
But
say.
Steve don't like layers to begin with.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in a book, like, half the reason why some of that stuff is they can go into the minutia of things and go into those little bitty details that they can't in like a movie or something like that. What about like one of those like Witcher books? Do they got Witcher books too? That could be
That's a Polish author from like the 70s.
Oh man, that's yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that into Witcher though. Are you?
No, not at all. But you like
I mean,
the
I would do
show?
some fantasy stuff like Dungeons and Dragons.
I
or
told
Dragonlance.
you, Audible science fiction.
All right, tomorrow. I'll text you on which top of the list.
Yeah.
Bill, any thoughts?
I would not recommend either one because I hate science. But I guess, but to Charles' point, there's likely to be more layers, more sort of interesting detail in a Star Wars book, I presume, than it would be in a Conan book.
But also the other option is you can get language books on there, like beginning
like a Rosetta
Japanese.
Stone or something like
Yeah,
that.
and just listen to Japanese.
Yeah,
all
good
day.
luck with that.
I don't know.
Well,
Just some
you
options.
listen to the podcast, and all of a sudden, that ching, bang, 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 bang start making sense, to brother.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that's gonna work.
Maybe, I don't know. It's either Star Wars or Conan, most likely, but we'll see. So, Charles, you bought some more equipment.
Yeah, so
Are you going to open your own gym at this point?
No, but here's the problem. I want all the things that I had in my previous gym. I brought this up because Gabe was kind of on the show, and Gabe talked about how
Joe Wetter?
yeah, when he was bringing up his wetter equipment and stuff like that. There's a certain thing with the workout equipment where you don't want it to be super flimsy and cheap, but at the same time, the really good stuff is super expensive. So have you guys heard of Rogue fitness equipment? I'm assuming you guys have heard of Rogue. It's all the stuff that sponsors like the Mountain and like all these crazy World's Strongest Man things. All that stuff is brought to you by Rogue. So I found a company called Titan Fitness. And everything you read online, people are slamming Titan Fitness. I got to tell you, I'll take you downstairs after we get off the show here. This stuff that's coming from Titan is fantastic equipment. I don't know why anyone would buy Rogue equipment. It just doesn't seem to me to be worth the 4 times the price, is what I would say. Like, I got all
Is
my
it Apple syndrome?
I think it is. And that's what I think you're buying a lot of like the name on
What
it.
is yoke?
So I'll take you downstairs. So instead of buying a full squat rack, as you guys have probably seen at the fitness centers and all that kind of stuff, I bought a yoke. And a yoke is where you've seen the strongman where they put that bar across them and they got the weights and they run. You know what I'm talking about? So that can be converted into like a squat rack and it breaks down, which is what I need to have. Because I'm taking over my daughter's gymnastics equipment area, as we all know. And I need to have my stuff to be kind of modular where I can break it down every day so she can still keep her fitness equipment and don't yell at me so that she doesn't have her room and stuff. I guess I just wanted to take 2 minutes and just say all the stuff I've bought from this Titan Fitness has been great equipment. I don't know. And again, like Steve said, I think it's kind of like Apple, like Sony syndrome where it's like you're paying for the name or something like that because all the stuff I've gotten from this company, I'm super happy with. It is super beefy. It doesn't come destroyed. It's all in good shape when it shows up at the house and stuff. Mm-hmm. I've gotten my speed bag from there. I got my squat rack, my bench. All my stuff has come from this Titan Fitness, and it's some of the best equipment I've ever trained on or ever had a chance to own.
So, spitballing, how much money you got in your home gym at this point?
Shy of 2 G's, somewhere in that area.
Jesus Christ.
But Gretchen can never shut me down.
Until next week. No more home gyms.
Yeah. God damn it. Yeah. So I don't know. I want to take a minute to say if you're looking for some of this home equipment, because every one of us are during this time, and it's crazy, unprecedented.
Are all of us?
Well, I mean, you got your Compton gym out in the backyard with your cinder blocks and everything like that, but. I
don't
gotta
use it when I'm barbecuing. Like
Do
you got
you?
4
Set
minutes.
stuff on?
So I go up there, start doing the cinder blocks.
I don't know. Especially if you're someone like Gabe who's way in, like if you're deep into fitness and you're really looking into getting some good equipment at your house, I got to tell you, this Titan Fitness stuff is, more than adequate for me. And like I said, I'm a big thumbs up to it, and I just wanted to bring it up to people if you're looking for that alternate. And don't believe all this shit you're reading on the web about like it's terrible. And I don't know. I don't have $4,000 for my fitness equipment. I got like $1,500, $1,800 for some fitness equipment, but like some of that Rogue shit's crazy expensive. So anyway, I just wanted to say it's a great company.
Is it sponsored by The Rock from Titan Games?
No, not at all. It's they keep calling it the Walmart of fitness equipment is what a lot of people call it and stuff.
All right, so now we got some new stuff this week, and this first one up, I had to put on here because I know how much Charles and Heather love it. It's coming to Netflix. Never Ending Story and Never Ending Story Part 2.
The original movie?
The original movie.
It's on HBO Max right now.
Oh, well, it's coming to Netflix now as well.
So they're going to lose it from HBO Max.
Yeah, all the shuffling. You got to keep track.
You joke, but I literally have watched this like in the past month.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I have no desire to watch these movies again, so I'm a no. Bill, do you want to watch Never Ending Story?
No.
Charles.
Obviously, I did. So yes.
Now this next one's coming to Amazon, and I thought of Charles when I heard it coming. World's Toughest Race Eco Challenge Fiji. I don't know what the hell exactly it's about. I think it's some kind of eco challenge race, obviously, but it's on Amazon, and I'm not going to watch it. So, Charles,
You said the magic words. It's on Amazon. I'm not going to watch it. So
and Bill, are you into an eco challenge?
I think we're unanimous on this one. It's a hearty no.
No one's watching this one. Now, this one's funny. This is one from our childhood. I don't know if you remember this.
Monchi-Chis.
The Monchi-Chis, the animated show, is coming to Hulu season 1.
They look like little fuzzballs.
Yeah. My wife will be excited about this. Me, not so much. So I'm a no.
I guess I'm a no on Monchi-Chis too.
No
I'm
Monchi-
not really into Monchi-Chis.
Bill, you watching Monchi-Chis?
Absolutely not.
Oh, is Abby going to watch Monchi-Chis?
That's a legitimate question.
Not if I don't tell her about it.
Oh, man, I got to text her. All right, now this next one is coming straight from the DC Direct app, going to HBO Max. This is Harley Quinn, the animated series, season 1 and 2. I rented the first season at Family Video and watched it. It's not bad. It's funny, but I like to put this on here because it just shows you how much that DC app is dying. I will watch season 2 if it comes to Family Video. I'm not going to get HBO Max again, so I'm a yes. Charles?
You're a yes to it for a rental, but not HBO Max.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, Harley Quinn's an annoying character. If it's not Batman the Animated Series, I can't stand her. She's like the most shoehorned in. Like, look, we're with females and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I find Harley Quinn to be annoying. I also find it annoying that Kevin Smith named his daughter after Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Super annoying. I'm not a Harley Quinn fan. I'm a no.
And Bill, are you any interest in the animated Harley Quinn? It's got the girl from The Big Bang Theory playing the voice of Harley Quinn.
Kaylee Cuoco.
Yes. It's basically a female Deadpool. She's very slapstick.
She's annoying, and she's meant to be like, yeah.
And then this week, the one Charles is waiting for is finally out. An American Pickle,
I
Seth
can't-
Rogen. It actually got decent reviews.
Did it really?
A 7 out of 10. I don't have HBO Max anymore, so I will not be watching it. Charles?
I'm definitely gonna watch American Pickle. I got to see this.
You still have HBO
Yeah, I have
Max?
HBO Max. I have as part of my DirecTV package. I have the HBO. It only costs an extra $5 on there. So plus I gotta have my Johnny Oliver. So
Oh, you're American Pickle.
yeah. So
And-
I'm into American Pickle.
Bill, you going to watch the American Pickle?
I think I'm going to wait to see what Charles says about this one before I decide whether I'm going to watch it.
It's gonna be amazing, and I'll
You
let
still have
know.
HBO Max, Bill?
I guess. I don't know.
You don't even know what he has at this point.
I
I can't blame him. It's
I've
hard
never
to believe.
actually watched it, so.
Now, this next one, the Osbournes want to believe. Basically, Jack Osbourne's taking his parents and showing them paranormal stuff. Is there 15 minutes up? I mean, Ozzy, my problem with Ozzy, why he appealed so much in the original MTV show is he wasn't part of the joke. It's just that's how he was, and everyone laughed. Now he's kind of part of the joke, and it's just...
And then Jack is
Yeah.
trying too hard. And when you get paranormal stuff, it's trying too hard.
Yeah, so I'm a big no on the Osbournes want to believe. Charles.
Yeah, and I was just telling you, like, I'm the same way. Like, it tries too hard. It's
Yeah.
we get you the Prince of Darkness and all this kind of stuff. I also don't dig paranormal stuff. I'm not into it.
Yeah, and Bill?
The Osbournes were kind of funny 20 years ago.
Yeah. But my thing, too, is they try to play, like, Super Family, and just, like, a year or two ago, he was banging a hairdresser, so...
Who was Ozzy?
Yeah.
Ozzy was banging a hairdresser.
That's why Sharon left her day show for a while, because she had to deal with it, and... Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's like...
Ozzy looks like a physical mess. He's banging a hairdresser.
Barely still gets it up.
Dude, I guess so, because it
Viagra's
doesn't.
a hell of a drug.
So this next one is a weird one, but it's kind of acclaimed for some reason in Britain, in England. Taskmasters. It's not going to be on the CW. It's a British show that puts comedians in weird like reality show tasks versus each other. Some reason it has rave reviews on this thing. It's on the CW, so I'm never going to watch it. So I'm a no on Taskmasters.
I gotta hit it with the old school. What? I've never even heard of this.
Me
I
either
don't.
until I was looking it
I
up.
don't know of this. I guess I might check it out. Maybe will it be on Hulu? Maybe I think
It probably will be if it's
Yeah.
on CW.
I don't know much about it.
Bill, any desire to watch Taskmaster? You can click the link; it'll take you if you want.
Double what and no.
No. So there you go. That's what's new this week. I had Never Ending Stories, probably your highlight. Charles will probably watch it 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah, I love that movie.
But I've watched Princess Bride over the Never Ending Story 8 days.
Princess Bride's a great movie too.
If I got to pick, I'm picking that one. And I'm watching Willow over all of them.
I'm not arguing on any of this. I don't know what the problem is.
So what's happening in Punch Your Face Land?
Yeah, so we just had so the UFC moved back to Vegas. They're at the UFC Apex again. I chronicled on this show on a regular basis how I love when they get behind someone and then the other guy didn't get the memo. And this UFC fight night that happened, so Derek Brunson destroyed this Edmund Shabazian. Now, this Edmund Shabazian was attached to Ronda Rousey. He was Ronda Rousey's big training partner when she was kind of into her big run and all this kind of stuff. He was also undefeated going into Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Again, no one in the world forgot to tell Derek Brunson, by the way, that hey, look, we need this new superhero. It was great. He beat the shit out of him. In between the second and third rounds, he dropped 2 elbows, blew him wide open. He was dead on his feet. They put him into the corner. The doctor didn't stop the fight. He was still like, woo, woo. They brought him back out. Derek Brunson beat the brakes off him again, and they stopped the fight. So even Dana White came off. He went off on the doctor saying, you're going to get people hurt if you don't know what's going on, all this kind of stuff. And then, like I said, it was just it's my usual fantastic stuff. I just can't get enough of when that happens. This next Saturday night, one of Steve's biggest boys is fighting. Derek
Balls is hot.
He's back from the ACL tear, and
My favorite UFC guy.
Yeah, he's dropped a bunch of weight. He's fighting Alexei Oleinik. They're gonna say that they're gonna give a big push behind whoever wins this. So they're gonna push whatever heavyweight happens to win that. Dana White also said Conor McGregor is not fighting in 2020. He came out just today and said that there's no way that Conor is going to be fighting in the year 2020. Kind of a bummer. I don't know. They're probably going to wait until to see who wins the Khabib Justin Gaethje fight in September, and then they'll probably bring Conor in to do whatever there. And then I put this on here because the Mountain from Game of Thrones announced that him and his wife are pregnant. I need Steve to explain to me how a man of his size, there's no way. I mean, his woman is so small, dude.
How tall is she?
She's got to be 5'2" or something like that. It's unbelievable.
She's going to squeeze out a 12-pound baby, so she better start doing some yoga right now.
The world's most enormous Icelandic baby is going to come out of that coochie. The irreparable damage is going to happen.
Yeah, the 12-pound baby coming her way.
These world's strongest men dudes, like Brian Shaw from the U.S., he's got a small wife. They all have these small wives, and I'm just like, how is this possible? Like,
you need to grow a childbearing hips.
Dude, it's just crazy. So I put that on there because I just found it funny.
All right, the Mountain said they have a 12-pound baby. All right, so we're going to some news. Now, mind you, some of this might be a little old because we were supposed to be on Sunday. Regis Philbin died at 88 years old this past week. He will be buried at Notre Dame, they said. Big fan. Now, I guess he did graduate from Notre Dame back in the 50s or 60s.
Remember that one game we were there for and he showed up to sign a book and people went crazy?
People were going crazy. He's like an icon at Notre Dame.
Still is in South Bend.
Well, now he'll be at South Bend, so he's going to be buried there. I wonder how much that costs. Now, here's an interesting one last week happened. Comic-Con held a virtual Comic-Con. Now, I didn't know if you had to pay for that. I'm assuming you had to pay to get in. But most of it was just Zoom calls with, like, casts of shows and stuff. Yeah. I'm so over Zoom calls.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cool.
I'm just over the Zoom reunions.
The TV shows and the media, whatever. Go away with your Zoom shit. So no real great news came out of it. I mean, they hyped up Bill and Ted's. They're talking about the Snyder Cut of the Justice League as a big thing. But nothing. There was like no new movie announcements really. A lot of reunions of old shows, and people got to talk to the fans. But so nothing great out of Comic-Con. What a total waste of time, if you ask me. Now I haven't seen this, and I've watched a lot of highlights. But the Unreal Engine has been used to make virtual fans at baseball.
I got to tell you, so I did you see the Mandalorian? How they implemented? I've talked about it on the show. How they implemented the Unreal Engine to do a lot of the backdrops and all this kind of stuff. Unreal is onto something major because they're able to do this real-time stuff that most of these engines can't do, and they're going to make a mint as far as a company just with that digital ability and all this kind of stuff. They're really onto something.
Now, has anyone seen these virtual fans at a game?
I haven't. I haven't watched any of the baseball. BV, did you check it out?
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen some games that I haven't really seen. It did look though at some of the basketball games, like you saw people moving.
Yeah, that's I was telling you. They're somehow with the app they're doing that.
Yeah, they got some kind of
But
LED
that's
screen.
it.
But this is supposed to be like on wide shots. They fill it in with the crowd and stuff like that. Well, if it's realistic, the Tigers game should only have about 10 people in the crowd.
Wow.
Now, I like the Witcher show, but even I know it wasn't the greatest of shows, right? And you didn't like it at all.
I did not like that.
But
disjointed storytelling makes me
It had tons of viewership. It was huge. So here comes a prequel series. This is going to take place where Witcher was a kid, I guess, or younger, teenage. So obviously Henry Cavill.
They just need that new Game of Thrones.
Oh, they're
dude.
dying for it. They're trying to make The Witcher it. I don't know. I think it's a little much right now. Let's focus everything on the original series, get it better before we try to sneak in a prequel series. But what do we know, right? And this next one, we were low on when I filled these notes out. But there is an animated show. I just thought it was funny because of the cross promotion. It's by the guys from Jurassic Park. It's Camp Cretaceous coming to Netflix about kids who run into dinosaurs. I imagine the lawsuits happening and 12-year-old kids get eaten by a dinosaur somewhere. So that will be coming. I thought maybe Lorna or someone might be interested in that. But that's about it. And, of course, we've already covered that The Rock bought.
Yeah, for
the
15
XFL.
mil, man. Crazy.
And then finally, let's finish it up with talking about Tom Brady because
Yeah, I just saw this midweek, and I just thought it was funny. So I'm not a big Tom Brady fan, neither is Steve. I know BV's a huge fan of him, but
What?
so people were dragging Tom Brady this past week because apparently he took a picture of his touch screen in one of his cars, and it said like Tom Brady's iPhone 6 Plus is attached to the car. And everyone's going off on Tom Brady because he's got an iPhone 6. Like, why would Tom Brady have an iPhone 6? And that
and
to
because
me,
of my daughter, I know they're on version 12 now.
yeah, but not whatever. But if you have a functioning iPhone 6 that does everything you need it to do, why does Tom Brady need to go out and buy the newest iPhone 12? Isn't that what's wrong with our society? That we're just such a fucking sheep that instead of going, well, Tom Brady's phone still does everything he needs it to do, he's trying to create generational wealth with how much money he's making in the NFL and all the things he's doing. But some broke ass is breaking his balls
Oh, an iPhone 6.
because he didn't go out and buy the new hotness.
All
It's just hilarious to me.
I'm not a huge fan of Tom Brady. Not many people are. But at the same time, anything that guy posts, they bust his balls. I guess about a month or two ago, he posted some picture of him and his daughter. They were jumping off a waterfall or something. A bad parent, you jump off that rocky.
Wow.
So, I mean, the guy can't win.
Yeah.
At the same time, he promotes Uggs, so fuck him.
I'm not here to
I mean, he gets plenty of free products.
And I want to make sure I don't come off as a Tom Brady fan. All I'm saying
we know
is,
you got that number 12 jersey.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
You got that
huge
that,
fan of him.
that Boochin tattoo on your ass.
Big fan of the boonch. I just want to make sure that we understand as a society that you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a new iPhone if the iPhone that you have is doing the job you need it to.
Tell that to the 16-year-old living in my house.
And what I'm saying is, like, this is a life lesson for if the phone you have
Works.
works.
Like this free LG style
Yeah,
level?
if it works, I only upgraded mine because it died. Like, I don't know. Like, at some point, our society has to get their priorities and their shit straight. Like, so, for example, we went out to, I didn't talk about it this week, but we went out to the Melting Pot in Troy. My daughter was obsessed with fondue, and we went out to the Melting
Oh,
Pot.
she got her poo-poo.
Oh, my God, she
quoted.
got it, and she's so happy. But anyway, we went to Somerset Mall. They're lined up out the store at a Louis Vuitton store. Like, out the store, they're lined up waiting to get in. And it's like, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and you're trying to buy a Louis Vuitton bag?
Traverse City, you know it's all tchotchke shops. There's one Lululemon shop
Oh, and it's just jammed.
out the door.
Yeah.
And no one social distance. They're all smashed in there waiting. to get in there.
$95 leggings. Like, what are you up to?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yet you see, like, Mark Zuckerberg, he's got, like, an $8 hoodie on. It's like, dude, he's got billions of dollars, but he doesn't give a shit. You know? It's
Yeah.
like, at some point, like, our society's got to get together and be like, maybe our priorities are a little fucked up.
And it's just, our younger generation ain't learning. They're just as bad. So I told Holly I'm gonna get your mom a new phone over the summer, for her birthday. And I said, purposely, I'm going to get her the newer iPhone, one version newer.
Just a ticket.
It pissed her off to no end.
Why? What does she give two shits?
Mom don't need that for. What she need? Because she's got to have out of all her friends, Holly's got the newest iPhone. And once her other friends start upgrading past hers, I guarantee she's going to be like, I need the new iPhone.
But if the phone she has does everything she needs it to do, I hate our country sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, man, I can't stand it.
Well,
It's not like Tom Brady can't go out and buy cases of iPhones. He probably has enough sense to go, this phone works fine for me. Why do I need a new phone? I don't think that that's something to break the man's balls over, is all I'm saying.
And what car was he driving, though? Was it a fucking Escalade?
Yeah, it was probably like a huge, enormous Escalade. He could have bought, he could buy his whole team new iPhones, but he probably has enough sense to just be like, I don't need it.
Billy, your thoughts on being savvy money-wise?
Well, I don't think this is necessarily an indication of Tom Brady being savvy with his money, although I'm sure he probably is. But I guess first thing with Tom Brady is that has it crossed anyone's mind that he's rich enough that he can focus on things that are exponentially a lot cooler than phones?
That's what I'm saying.
And maybe phones just aren't that important to him because he's, I don't know, rich. Whatever the hell he wants to do in the world. But the general theme is still the same. There's typically a reason why people of wealth are wealthy. A lot of the Zuckerbergs and stuff may have something to do with tech nerds that never really got into, never really cared much about that anyway, getting atrocious amounts of money and just never changing the way they are. But yeah, the idea that all I have to say to your daughter is that if she needs to have the newest iPhone of her friends or in the house all the time, she better get a damn good job early in life because those $1,200 a pop will hit her pretty hard.
Yeah, she'll pay it.
This is crazy. It's like, man, like you could $1,200. You know what you could do with $1,200? You could pay a mortgage payment.
You could buy gym equipment.
Yeah, like you could do a lot of shit differently. I don't know. It's the craziest thing. But like that's another example of like I saw that Rogue shit. I'm like, I'm not paying that money. So I immediately started Googling around to try to save some loot. It's crazy.
So there you go. One last thing I got to ask you about. How did the tree removal go?
It went great. They came out. We got the hell out of this house. I didn't want other. Lawn's got some big divots from where they backed the crane up to the house, and then they swung it over top, supported it. They were all cleaned up by the time I got home at 4:00. They were all gone and good to go. And then a couple days later, they came out and ground the stumps and everything. And
did you have to take your pool down?
No, nothing. No. Not at all. So it all worked out really well. It was crazy expensive. It's $6,700 to get those trees removed. But at least that way I don't got to worry about a tree falling on my house.
You know, you could have bought how many iPhones with that $6,700?
Yeah, I know. When the tree crashes on my house, yeah.
So, Bill, anything left you want to cover there before we go? How's the bike going?
Although considering the fact that I'm probably going to have to pay $9 or $10 to get my deck essentially replaced.
What's going on there?
I could get maybe 7 or 8 iPhones with that.
Yeah.
What's going on with your deck? What's the story there?
Well, it's the treated wood. It's almost a 30-year-old deck, and the wood's finally gone.
Oh, it's just rotted away, essentially?
Boards are rotting, and so I'm going to have the entire floor and all the rails replaced.
Where's your stepdad in that scenario? Is he getting too long in the tooth to do something like that?
No, he's working a lot of hours still in his job in Michigan, so he doesn't have the time to come out to do it.
Damn it. $9 or $10.
Yeah, wow.
I've got I had the best estimates I've gotten so far have been about 9 or 10, and that's just for more pressure treated wood.
That's not tech or AZAC or anything crazy.
No.
Yeah.
I had a guy come out today for pressure treated wood and quote me $21,900, but with his $2,000 coupon, $19,900.
Wow.
And literally, I had someone else over the weekend quote me $19,000 for the Trek composite.
Wow.
So I'm going to be doing.
So you need all new structural support and everything to it? Like
no, the footings and joists and all that are fine. It's going to need all new boards for the floor. It's going to need the rails are all going to have to be replaced. And right now I have 2 3-foot steps, 2 sets of 3-foot steps, wide steps We're going to close off one, and we're going to expand the other one to 5 feet wide.
Wow.
So just basically getting the deck you already have fixed. There's 10 grand.
Home
I mean, it's a
yeah.
good sized deck though too. It's like 425 square feet, so it's
It's a
good
big size deck. Yeah.
But yeah, so just another kick in the nuts.
If you think about it, you'll get it with all that President Trump money with stimulus check 2.0 that you're going to get.
You're not gonna get.
Oh, that I also won't get again. After I just I don't know 2 weeks ago wrote a damn near $10,000 check for taxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who needs stimulus?
not,
Shitload of taxes.
Yeah.
not BV.
Anyway,
You're paying for Antifa or whatever that is in Seattle.
there we go.
The country of Chad or Chaz, whatever it is.
Yeah, white people problems, I guess, right? So.
All right, that's going to do it for this week, our special Tuesday edition of the
Yeah.
show. Check us for maybe Saturday next week or whatever
We'll
day
figure
we're available,
something out.
Saturday or Monday. Of course, you can catch us on Google Play, Apple iTunes. You can catch us on Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, wherever you can find podcasts. Of course, you go to fatguyslittlepodcast.com or on YouTube and Twitch, where this is being live streamed at the same time.
Facebook, too. Yeah.
And Facebook, of course, we're always on there. Visit our friends at the Real Estate One, Talking Real Estate. They're also. Bill, anything you need to pimp? BP Oil, make sure you go at the BP gas stations.
BP made a major announcement today on top of their bad quarterly numbers. They are officially changing their focus. They're no longer going to be an international oil company. They are changing to an integrated energy company.
Oh.
So over the next 10 years, there'll be a 40% drop in oil and gas expenditure and exploration. So it's trying to move towards the zero carbon promise of 2050. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, man. Everybody going to be saving the planet, which is good news. Charles, do they need to stay at the Westin after they get their gas at BP?
No.
No?
I don't do whatever you're going to do. I don't care.
Charles, that's just more work for me. You can stay away. All right. Until next week, this is Steve.
And Charles.
Catch you next time.